dedication and practice certainly can be, and they have a lot of that coming into here. You can, like I've mentioned before, Malaysia has looked very talented. Japan has looked very practiced, right? You can tell that they've gone over these rotations, these tactics that they've seen from other teams around the world. It's just that they haven't been able to put it together, and that's partly because it's not second nature to them quite yet. And they need to be thinking about these tactics the entire time, and that slows them down.
Right, you said they were just moving a little bit too slowly through their executions, though their executions themselves weren't necessarily wrong.
Exactly. So think of it like if you every time you count to 3, you win a point. It's just something weird, very simple like that, right? If they get to 3 before you get to 3 every single time, they're going to win every single point, and then it's going to look terrible. But they're like barely behind the other team counting to 3 every single time. If that makes any sense.
Nope, not really, but I think I get what you're trying to say.
Okay.
We're into the draft for game number 1 here. You want Japan to play more instinctively, less thinktively.
I don't think they can though. Is my issue, right? I think they're a year
It's
away, or
just
at
an
least 6 months
experience
away.
thing.
Yeah. So
Well,
I think that they need to continue to just play how they did before, keep thinking, and hopefully it's fast enough to defeat Malaysia this time.
yeah, we've definitely seen that they are a talented roster. I keep saying words like, "Oh my God, they're almost there. Oh my God, they're almost the best." Oh, and then they don't quite put it together. They always feel a little bit short. Speaking of, though, they get a Hayate right off the bat, and that isn't falling a little short at all. That's going to give them quite a lot of ranged burst damage. You've been of the opinion, it sounds like, that Hayate is the best character in the game currently.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's particularly true as the more you get up the skill rankings, for lack of a better term. So the better player that's on it, the better he's going to look. I know that's true for most heroes, but it really just goes up exponentially with Hayate. We'll see if Slash Moon's able to do a little bit better job than we saw last time he was on Hayate, which was slightly underwhelming.
Boldum Lindis comes through for Malaysia. That's going to give a little bit more of the front line for Malaysia right off the bat. I personally think Boldum's the best support currently. Maybe Teamy. Boldum, Teamy are my 1-2. It'll be a net instead for Japan.
Yeah, and Baldum Lindis is a very nice combo. Lindis is able to just pump out the damage, and Baldum is there to chase away anyone who dares go near her. That said, there are quite a few OP heroes available. Talking about Darcy, talking about Florentino. The sky is the limit for both these teams right now.
There's Lindis for the backline damage. That's going to scale really well from the mid-late game. So they already have a really good 1-2 combo over on Malaysia. The Baldum to tank the front lines, the Lindis to sit behind it and deal damage. Opposing them, Japan need a little bit of dive to get onto the Lindis, and they have that from the Hayate, but I'd like to see a little bit more, given that they've locked in a net. They're relying on being able to burst down their opponents, or they need to draft a sideline tank in the next few moments. Given that they already have Hayate Ryoma, that's unlikely. Unless this Ryoma's in jungle, which is always possible.
I think in general, if you look at the Japanese side, they're going for what we see a lot from the Chinese Taipei wildcard team, what we see from a lot of these teams that rely on winning micro engages. So Hayate, Annette, and Yom are all capable of winning skirmishes by themselves. They don't really necessarily need someone near them. And so that helps a lot when you're going 1v1s, 1v2s, 2v1s, that kind of stuff. And even 2v3s and 3v2s, their flexibility and ability to kind of weave their way in and out of a variety of situations is very helpful. So I imagine they're going to finish off their draft that way as well. Just a couple of independent heroes who don't need nobody to help them out, TJ.
No, not at all. They're in total control.
Except when they need help.
Except
Then
when
this
they need help.
team! Where are you? What are you doing, team?
my favorite segment of all time was from an old shooter competition I used to watch a ton of, and the production team would cut out the team comms to find the moments where the players were yelling "Help! Help!" and they called the segment like "Help!" with an exclamation mark, and they just had the team comms for the moments where the players were the most distressed. Beautiful. The draft continues. Florentino through against Ryoma in that side lane. It'll be Darcy and Murat as the bans. That gets rid of a lot of the dive that could threaten the Lindis, as well as the backline answer to the Lindis. This is going to be our first game in a while without a Darcy, so I'm really excited for that on a personal level.
It's funny how Darcy has just snuck his way back into the meta. He's always like the second pick too. He's never like the first pick, so it never like it never is actually glaring that he's in the game, but he just kind of gets in there.
I'm like real tired of Darcy.
Yeah, me too.
And he's like
Me too.
fine. You know what? I came into this tournament a little bit skeptical about global pick ban. Having watched the group stages without global pick ban, I cannot wait for global pick ban.
Get out of here, Darcy.
Only
my
having to
goodness.
see one Darcy a team. Sweet. Here comes the second pick phase. It will be a Telenas on the cards here for Malaysia. That's interesting because it puts them in double marksman territory. It'll be Lindis, Telenas, the Telenas in the side lanes, the Lindis in the jungle. And that's going to work real well unless there's hard engage into them. As previously discussed, though, Japan doesn't have a whole lot of that. They have the Hayate, they have the Ryoma. That's kind of it. They need to either have a second tank like the Yubaneth to sit in the front lines and take the hits, or they need to go even higher mobility, and a whole bunch of that high mobility's been banned. Oh my lord, they're doing both, Daniel! It's a Zill for the mobility and a Yubaneth for the tank.
I like the Zill. I don't like the Yemenith. I think I would like them to have gone even more mobility there and just go super light, super mobility. Yemenith is never going to survive in the late game against Lindis Telenas. I do like the double marksman approach here from Malaysia. It puts a lot of pressure on Japan to finish the game as quickly as possible. Obviously, we saw... Who was it that was able to finish out the game? I think it was Vietnam. Yesterday, everything's blurring together, but there was a double marksman comp that started to come back, and then it got somehow beaten anyway. But usually in this case, the double marksman comp just really wrecks throughout the game, or once it starts getting to the mid and late game. Yeah? What? Hello?
I'm just excited because I got an Arduin. You were saying that usually if a double marksman gets to late game, they win. Especially...
Right, and that puts a lot of pressure. That puts a lot of pressure on Japan, right?
Yeah.
It's like, can Japan win in 12 minutes? I don't know. I doubt it. So in that case, Malaysia probably wins just off the back of picking these double marksmen. Japan, they can't. If they want to win this game, it's going to have to be a lot of aggression coming out from the Zill, from the Dioma, from the Hayate, and Yevena needs to be slapping people left and right in the early game.
A lot of the damage from the Japan side needs to come from the Hayate, because Zill's going to take a while to get going. I think this
Actually, I think it's the opposite.
Really?
I think Zill's... Well, Zill, he's one of the fastest
You know
first
what
wave
that
jungle
is?
clearers in the game.
You know what it is that we disagree on that? It's either a real good side for Japan, because like both of them are viable in the early game, or a real bad side, because neither of them are viable in the early game.
I think, yeah, Hata takes a little while to get going. He does have good mobility, so it's hard to track him down.
So, once again,
Okay.
if Malaysia get late, their double marksman wins them the game. We're talking 12, 15-minute mark. Malaysia just win off how much damage they have, probably. Japan have a mid-game power spike, as Zill, Ryoma, and Hayate will all come super online at right around the time that Annette gets annoying and Yubanith gets mildly unkillable. That's going to be their moment. Around that 6 to 10 minute mark, they need to win the game.
Exactly. The other option is if we have Mai just completely turn into ADC from Team Flash, and he's able to kill 2 marksmen on his own. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
I mean, why not?
I don't. I mean, I wish people would just transform me into like Rafael Nadal, but it's kind of hard.
That sounds suspiciously more specific, but I
No,
think it's
what?
entirely. I mean, I'm into Nadal too. He's cute, but I think
No,
the
no. I'm for this tennis ability. That's because I play tennis. That's oh my god.
oh, all right, wow. I took that
Yes.
actually in an
Oh,
entirely different direction
oh
in my
my
head.
god. No, because I
Really?
wanted to win tennis tournaments. You dummy.
Oh, okay.
God. Yikes.
The important thing is going to be being able to get onto that backline, shut down the Lindis, shut down the Telenas, because that 10 to 12 minute mark we set as an arbitrary limit for Japan will be delayed, especially if they manage to shut down the Lindis and Telenas.
Yeah, and that's going to be very important. Well, getting into game number 1 between Japan and Malaysia. Both teams just right in the middle of Kito with a huge knock on a 2, but he gets in trouble himself. That is a big wild charge, and that is first blood over to Malaysia right away.
That's real good. I said Japan needed to be able to get to that late game. The fact that immediately they lose their mid lane, I don't know how to say not a great start in Japanese, but Daniel does.
まあ良くないな。いまいちやな。
Solid.
Anyway, Kirito.
This broadcast now multilingual.
Yeah, I said that in a Western accent though, so I don't know. Maybe not everyone will understand. And Kirito, he just keeps getting knocked up by Ray. Ray is kind of owning his counterpart here, but Kirito a little bit too aggressive going forward and trying to get that damage off. We'll clean his wave though. Slash Moon over in this top lane. What do you think about this? Slash Moon, they switched the lanes. Now he's over in this top lane, and they're leaving Yebanet to deal with the Artemin in the bot.
I think it'll only work out if the movement across the map is good. Here Japan have their concentrated forces.
In my tries to get, but they are able to get it in the end. King actually able to finish off that kill, and Kirito just finishes off the wave here. So Japan fighting back, and of all things, Mai from the jungle making it work.
Nicely done. That brings things back. As I said earlier, not a great start that they lose a player that early, but because they bring it back, Japan are now in a situation where they are back at even footing until now, as the Abyssal Dragon is taken away.
Exactly, that's the Abyssal Dragon taken by Malaysia. They had already rotated over. They're going to go take it for themselves and move on their merry way across the map.
But even when they were at that even footing for like 10 seconds, it was still a loss for Japan because, as I said, keeping even is not what Japan wants to be doing. They need to be out ahead during this time. This is supposed to be the period where Kato can't really be fighting. He needs to be in his jungle. Rio's not really doing enough damage yet. This is supposed to be the period where Japan are running rampant over the map. Finally, they try and do some of that. We'll see if this ambush in the jungle pays off.
Exactly, they're going to try to go for that ambush here. Mai jumps on it. Kato gets a lot of damage off. Can he finish off the kill? No, he's trying to go in, but here comes the Kunai Blitz to take them out. Slash Moon finishing the job off that they started, but here comes Joe trying to get the damage, and Mai having to fall back a little bit. They are really undecisive, but Slash Moon goes down because of it. Ray down low, he falls as well, and Seven's just got to back off. Staying in the vicinity. I don't know if he's going to get anything done, but they're not jumping on him, which means that Kirito has to run away. King's in trouble. Seven's low as well. This fight will never end. King tries to pop the Nature's Rope, but he will go down without getting anything done. And Japan leaves with relatively high life bars.
Okay.
The production just got confused too. They're like, what?
Yeah,
Let's
just
turn
cut
this
the
off.
feed. I don't know what just happened. Japan, goes for that aggression that I was asking them for, but they lose the fight. And not only do they lose the fight, but the player they lose is their tank as well, which shouldn't be happening this early on. I definitely think this is a scary sign. This is Kato already getting very fed. He's level 7. He got one of those kills in that fight. Sure, he got taken out, but it's not good enough because he's still got more gold than the rest of his team by a solid margin. And Lindis is going to get real scary real fast.
Well, Kuntar's going to jump in on Mai here. Tries to get some damage in. Mai just throws out a little bit of a a blade. But they're going to be congregating around this Abyssal Dragon once more. Would like to see Japan maybe try to play a little bit more as a team here instead of letting Malaysia pick them apart one by one.
So,
oh my goodness. No, a little bit too far forward. Takes a lot of damage. A lot of shower shots go onto Mike as well, but he's able to get on out of there. Oh,
he doesn't go down. How on earth is that the case? Rio just able to back up, spending the flicker to do so, and I was convinced that they have the chase. The fact that Japan don't get that kill, the fact that Japan aren't able to burn down these key characters, that's the lightweight bot lane ADC who's underfarmed that you just failed to kill. Now they've got 3 assists, now their gold game is doing alright, and we're rapidly approaching the danger zone for Japan.
Exactly, getting to that 5-minute mark. Japan needs to make something happen. Mai's trying to see what he can't get done, but fortunately, they aren't getting on top of them. There is the Wild Prison. Not going to get a whole lot done for Ray here from Malaysia. Still putting damage in the Abyssal Dragon, but that's going to get leached back to the pen. Mai once more getting, and by Mai, I don't mean Malaysia, by the way. Mai on Japan is getting bullied out of his own jungle here. Malaysia with a nice invade, getting the monkey there. Trying to go onto the Mike Golem as well. So just in general, distracting Mai from here.
This is supposed to be the power spike for Japan. Right around now is right when their mid-game power spike hits. They need to win this fight around Abyssal.
Oh, that was going to be hard stealing from here because King is already extremely low. Tries to hold the trigger, but see, King's alive long enough for 7 to go down. That means they don't have their Florentino in the fight. Mai in solo health does finally go down in the end too.
God.
And they finish off the Abyssal Dragon in the... What are these team fights? 4-4 in the kill count. That was a 1-for-1 for either side. The Abyssal Dragon goes over to Japan, but they lose their tower in mid.
Undirected, but Japan are... Yes, win the team fight. The fact they lose the tower and trade makes it a negative team fight, but at least they got 1-1 plus the Abyssal. 1-1 plus the Abyssal minus a tower is worse, not because of the gold, which obviously still balances in favor of Japan, but because they're less likely to be able to lock down their jungle in the area, less likely to be able to lock down Darkslayers and Abyssals in the future without the map control that that tower gives them. It should be noted, though. Oh, King, you alright here?
Yeah, not so much. Kid takes a lot of damage. Doesn't have his nature realm anymore because he's put it below by the Wild Prison. Tries to go in and get the clap, but he's taking a lot of damage from this Gust Force as he goes out. Mai gets the damage, and there is the clap from Kirito. Gets the Wailing Blade, gets the kill. Down goes 7.
So it should be noted, we are at the 7-minute mark, and there is only 1 tower take. Sorry, 2 tower takes now. So, in and of itself, that's pretty incredible. What that means is that both these teams are playing really defensive, really slow AoV, and that's a bad sign, as previously discussed, for Japan, who will lose, in our theory crafting world, the late game power scale, as this telling us, as this Lindis comes online.
Yeah, that is very scary if you are Japan. Kirito trying to make something happen in this mid lane while Yo and Kato haven't yet come on lane yet. Mai still at half health with this Abyssal Dragon coming up soon. Japan really just trying to make something happen, but haven't been able to do so quite yet.
Unable to make the connections happen. Here's the flank up towards mid. Malaysia are just looking to control the area because there's no tower nearby.
And Kirito took a lot of damage, had to get out of there. In fact, that was enough for Slashman to get his damage through, and now Japan are on the chase, going on to Kun. He's taking a lot of damage, has the Bloodlust activated, but he's going to get slapped back down, and that is a 2-0 for Japan.
A lot of my credit for that fight goes to Deja Vu, who spends a Hurricane Wall to cut off the rotate from the core of that Malaysia team into the rest of the fight. They separate Ray, Kun's trying to back him up, he gets caught out as well. There's 2 big tanks down from Malaysia, and they can't sing fight. Now Japan turns that into an Abyssal as well, and this is good for them. As I said, their mid-game power spike has come online. Unfortunately, you can also see here, Kato is coming online as well. Oh. Japan are still on a timer.
Oh my goodness. Kato with that last shot takes out Zill, takes out Mai. I was about to ask you about the Apocalypse. Picked up from my talking about those power spikes, but hold that thought. They're pushing onto this mid lane. Lots of damage coming into them from Yo, trying to get the damage out, but they are successfully able to clear the minion wave. Slashman trying to be a bit cheeky to get some damage out, but he's going to back off.
Yes, another good trade there for Japan, though. Trading out to shut down the Lindis right now is 100% positive. That is what the Zill's job is. Jump in, kill the Lindis. If he can do that consistently, these team fights are still possible for Japan. The vast majority of their damage, though, needs to come from Slashmoon if he's going to be diving in and dying.
That said, in a 1v1 situation, you expect Mai to be able to get the kill and not die on the back end, especially since he has the Apocalypse. Extremely low, takes a lot of damage. In goes Mai, and Dejuo gets the credit for the kill.
The Gust Force, well played there. I don't think that was just credit. I think that was Dejuo securing the kill. It wouldn't have happened otherwise. Watch King on this flank.
Very well. King doing really well, getting in there, pops the Nature's Realm. He's going to stay alive for a little bit longer. He's distracting 3 while he does so, which means that one more goes down. That's Kood. Ray trying to get away as well. Nice Gust Force, nice Welling Blade. There is the Kunai Blitz, and that's 1 more. No, 2 more going down. Japan is on the fight. They're on the aggression. Can they take 1 more? The Siege Minion is on his last legs, but if they're able to tank the tower, perhaps they can make it happen. Yo is back. He's back on the field trying to keep his time alive. That means that Dejuo goes down, and they do not get the high ground tower.
Unfortunate, a little bit too far there for Japan. Given their low HP bars, I would have preferred that they just fell back after they got those kills, turned to the Abyssal. They may still be able to steal that Abyssal away, but Ray and Ko are in the area. They get it.
You wanted them to back off. I was fine with the aggression. I wanted them to go straight in there and go for the towers, but maybe not so much for Mai as he gets taken out 1v2. Not really sure what happened there. Just completely caught off guard, it seems.
So a lot of that last team fight came from King being able to split the fight. That's the same thing I gave credit to Japan for being able to do with Dejuo. Uh-oh.
Oh, Kirito. What have you done?
Tower's gone.
Kirito. Didn't realize there was 4 in the area. Did chunk go down to half, but that wasn't enough to save the tower or his life. Dejuo staying around the area. There's a lot of damage coming out from Slashmoon now that he has built his Frostkeep and the Fafnir's Talon. Every single time he throws out those Shuriken, 9 Shurikens come out. That's a huge deal for him in these team fights going forward.
You know what I'd love to see? Team Japan in the Valor series.
Just their insanity.
Well, this is some SA Valor series gameplay right now. What I mean by that is very good mechanical skill, very coordinated team fights, but the macro is failing.
Yeah, Mai was all by himself here. So too was King, and they have to hightail it on out of here. A flicker forward from 7. He's going to jump onto Slashmoon. Can he get out of there? There's the Kunai Blitz, but 7 just too much. This Gentleman's Duel takes him out. Dejuo can't do anything as a support, and you see those crit numbers on your screen there. Yo and Kato are starting to pop off, and this is the power spike that they wanted to hit. 4 down for Japan, and Malaysia now is on the hunt.
Even though Japan just won a series of fights, those were the fights we knew they would win. That was their mid-game power spike, and here comes Malaysia with the late game. Now it is a game of can you kill Kato? Can you kill Rio? If they are not able to get Mai in particular onto that double ADC backline, Japan will lose every fight heretofore.
Malaysia says anything you can do, we can do better. They get the return near wipe that allows them to get 2 towers and the Dark Slayer there, and now they have that massive gold lead. Mai trying to take this Abyssal Dragon all by his lonesome. Not going to really even out the Dark Slayer, but he's going to go for it anyway.
That'll be the Abyssal locked down. Japan just trying to back off away from it. That's going to be the Drake summoned relatively defensively. Malaysia are playing this real passive because the clock is not on them. I would argue the clock has also expired at this point, but every moment that they wait, every moment Japan doesn't go for a team fight, Malaysia's ADCs get more and more and more and more and more gold.
Oh, speaking of more and more, so much damage coming out from the ADCs here. In comes them, but there's the wild chart where
oh my lord!
Oh my goodness! Kirito goes down. They're trying to get the kills. Nose goes out as well. 7. He's extremely low. Slashmoon is still in this fight. This is a marksman fight between Kato and Slashmoon at the moment. King's trying to hold him off. Slashmoon has to dash on out of here. King's gonna give his life for the cause. But that means Slashmoon is all by himself. He is 1v2. Malaysia trying to push on this high ground tower. They're gonna get this for free. Can they finish off the game though? half health Drake with minions in the way. And are they able to take out Slashwood? He's trying to hold on to this. Kato doing the damage onto him, but Kuhn is taking more on the backside. He flickers forward, gets the knockup. Kato, can they do it? Slashwood taking more damage. He goes down, and that very well may be game. The core is going down. No one has any dead timers, and that means that Malaysia takes game number 1 over Japan.
That could have gone either way, but at the end, the ADC meta is too strong. Double ADC in the backlines, they get it Rio. Normally, that would be the end of things. You kill the other team's Telenas, you win the fight, but there's a Lindis as well, and she's mad.
Absolutely. You do not kill my other ADC without me getting the return kill back. Well done by Malaysia. We have the question, right? Is Japan going to be able to win quickly enough? The answer was no. Good draft by Malaysia, good execution in the end.
So, that'll be Malaysia now. 1-0 up in the series, and their first win on the board. That would have been the first win for either teams, no matter which way it went. But Malaysia's record is significantly better on paper, as they have a 1-win, 4-loss standing at the moment. It's possible if Malaysia go on a tear from here that they challenge North America. Fun fact. They need to do real well. But if they win every game from here on,
that would have to be it. They'd have to win basically every single game from here on out, because NA is already a 4-4. Malaysia's 1-4 now. Better than before, as we see these builds.
Speaking of, let's talk about how better than before Kato's build was. He got Clav Sancti at around the 10th minute, maybe 12. And that normally is a kind of bad sign. If you watch Zane in particular, he'll get that Clav Sancti sub 10 minutes. That's why his team is so scary. But the game had been so bloody and so slow. Malaysia had done such a good job stalling that when he gets that Clav Sancti, they're all good to go. There are a few more minutes of the game, but they're all Kato cleaning up.
One thing we didn't mention through that was that King actually replaced Soda, which sent Mai to the jungle. But we'll talk about that in a second. Kato, your MVP, well deserved, 34% damage, 6-3 and 9. It's KDA, 83% kill participation, pretty good for a jungler. Want to get around and flank and gank and do all the killing.
Yeah, he did a real good job for the team. And again, his job for the first 10 minutes was just farm. Don't get overextend, don't make any mistakes, get in any fights, just stay there and farm. And Japan weren't able to get onto him, which cost them.
Well, like you just saw, that is game number 1 going over to Malaysia. Well done to them. Japan, unfortunately, still winless, fall to 0-7 in the group. We'll see if they can bring it back. We'll see if they can get their first win after this. We are right. Oh, we are right back into the draft here between Malaysia and Japan. Malaysia taking the first game and looking to finish it off with a 2-0 finish. Japan looking to get the first win of the entire AWC. I am D2. With me is TJ. You're watching the AWC. This is day 3. This is match number 3. TJ.
It's a lot of numbers. You see, it's like real hard to get right. Glad you had to do it at least once.
One of these days we'll just combine. Day number 3.
I think we should just do it in
match
sync
number
this time.
4.
You come in. Do you think we can do it in sync? Do we have that level of caster synergy?
No.
No. Okay.
I don't believe.
We'll try it. Malaysia currently in the ban phase. They've gotten rid of Richter and Sephra. Elsu their first draft. Hayate and Yina opposing them from Japan in the bans, and they have 2 to pick.
And this time they say, you know, that Linda's Ballroom thing, I kind of like that. Let's do that.
So, this is something I'm very happy to see. Not because they get the Linda's Ballroom combo, though it is good. Sorry, Daniel. But because they take away the double ADC immediately, they take away what happened last game, and they don't have an all-melee lineup that can't answer.
To be fair, I don't think that double ADC is a thing you can really run with an Elsu. I suppose you could. Elsu's kind of like the mage in that sense.
Absolutely
But...
can. You run the Elsu as a mid lane mage, and you put a second ADC in the jungle. They're basically doing the inverse, as the Elsu will be run in mid, but it'll be Darcy in the jungle as the jungle damage mage.
Darcy's back, or as I like to call him, Darcy, because he has that strange apostrophe.
Actually, it's Darcy.
Darcy. What about Telanius?
I'm a big fan of Telanaeus.
Telanius.
Well, how did Matt Andrews say it?
Telanius.
Oh my god. He nailed it, though. Tulin and Annette will be next on the docket. So the Tulin's going to give that mid-lane range threat. This is a much more mobile side again from Japan. They're going to use that Baldum as an initiator, bring in their Lindis Tulin in the backlines to follow through.
So, Japan is again going for the early / mid game comp. I know that Lindis scales to the late game, but Tulin is does very well in the early game. He does very well with the lead as well. It's a lot easier for him to get his damage in. It's kind of sort of similar, like a Murad is better with the lead. Ballum was good at getting picks. Now, Malaysia is again going for a bit of a more late game lineup. Elsu's damage scales pretty well into the mid / late game. Same goes with Darcy. So, will they continue with this through the end of the draft? Will Japan continue to go for early game? Will Malaysia try to have a hero to bridge the gap to the late game, or will they go full late game here?
I think the Malaysia... So first of all, Malaysia demonstrated they can go late game, full late game, and be fine with it. I think the Malaysia side needs to worry, though, because they have an Annette. I always bring this up when Annette is drafted. The downside of the Annette is you don't have a physical tank. Now, the biggest threat of not having a physical tank is poke. When poke's coming your way, if you don't have someone who can just take the hits, then your squishies will die to it, which is silly. Now, they have the biggest poke in the game on their team, so the Elsu's not going to get drafted against them, and they also took care to ban away other good poke characters. Sephra, Telenas, Superman, all gone. That means Japan need to get up close against the Elsu and challenge. They bring in Lindis, Tulin to have their highest damage against him, and that doesn't do it for me. I want to see higher mobility. I'd maybe go so far as to calling for something like a Nakroth to be drafted in the jungle. I'm worried Japan can't close the distance against this Elsu-Darcy duo.
Right. Tulin does help in that regard, especially because once you get in, it's hard for Annette to stun you down. Especially because you're not necessarily in range of another hero to get handcuffed or windcuffed, as it were.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this mallet coming through, though? That's going to be be sideline Malik. It can't be support Malik with the Annette already drafted. So sideline Malik presumably into a Yabaneth. That's a good matchup.
Sorry, I'm getting the song stuck in my head. Sorry. That was also my humming thinking.
If you wanna.
Sorry?
I can run the Japan bumper again if you want to relive your glory days for a hot 14 seconds.
Best 14 seconds of my life. So while I was thinking and humming and tuning, Malok is a decent front liner. If this were against a different team in this group, I would be a little bit skeptical of it, but I like it in this situation because it allows them to protect their backline a little bit easier and allows for Elsu and Darcy to get their damage off. So in this case, I like it. Normally, if they're playing against Chinese Taipei or something, I wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah, but as you say, it gives them a physical tank. It gives them someone who can take those hits. As I said up earlier, that's important if you're dealing with poke. To date, there was none of that opposing them. Now with a Kali drafted, they're real happy they picked up the Malik. Because if they're running some squishy sideline, there's nobody who can take those ethereal pulse shots.
Speaking of ethereal pulse, I am interested in this sideline Tulin that's suddenly become a thing.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what lane he's going to be in, to be honest.
He's got to be sideline because they have the Kali for mid, and Kali functions better in mid than any other lane. That's due to how directional her attacks are. She wants to have a straight line.
Right. I meant I don't know whether he's top lane or bottom lane.
Oh. Flip a coin. Probably up top. Ideally, they're going to want to put him against the Malik because he'll win that matchup, whereas the Yabaneth has a hard loss in the matchup against the Malik. The reason for that, of course, that the Malik wins versus almost any other melee with his ability to self-shield and the fact that he chews through shield with his cleave and true damage. So, the Yabaneth just loses. If you can get the Tulin in lane, then it becomes mobility ranged versus melee. The Tulin wins that matchup. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
I think that Yabaneth just loses both matchups he's in, though, in this game, which makes me feel really bad.
You're not a Yaboyeth fan.
Well, he is going against either Florentino or Malak, but all that aside, we are getting into game number 2, being Malaysia and Japan here. In our third, I see why you say numbers are hard. In our third series of the day, game number 2, as they set up shop in the mid lane here.
Week number
1 is indeed going. Week number 1.
AWC 2019.
Group number A.
Letter number 2.
Nice. We've done it.
Day 3.
So things are going as normal. No invades on either side. Dejo is getting a little bit aggressive onto Ray. We have... Okay, so we were a bit off with the Malak going bot. Looks like they're prioritizing Malak mid, which means that the Elsu went to the bot lane. Nothing too out of the ordinary.
So Malak mid isn't something that Western AoV players will be familiar with. I'm actually... So you told me I should believe in it, and I believe in you, so I believe in it. But I'm not a big fan of it in this specific matchup, because I would rather have Elsu mid and give the Malak the lane against Yabaneth. Because I think Florentino actually has a much worse matchup against Yabaneth than Malak does.
Well, we'll see if they're able to make it work with the Malak in mid anyway, because of that zoning potential. Japan is doing the same thing that they did in the previous game, and that is waiting, having a nice old bush party. I'm not sure if Sam was able to see that, but regardless, here comes Malaysia on the other side trying to go for a gank on the Tulin, but my is wise, so he's going to go ahead and back off. More bush parties over in the top lane here. Japan, do something, Japan.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
They're on a bit of a timer again. The Darcy and the Tulin will scale up towards late. Same with the Florentino. It's not as bad as last game where Malaysia had double ADC. But it is the case that if they faff about, if they fall behind, Malaysia will outscale them.
The post coming up here from Kirito. Dejuo gets ulted and ported back to the mid lane. Takes a lot of damage in the meantime. So what I was referring to, TJ, I was looking at the mini map, and Japan is just having a good old time on the top of the map, just having a journey. Just forget the MOBA part. We're gonna go for just straight up MMORPG. We're gonna be wandering, gonna be traveling, journeying, sojourning.
Those are the types of journey. The problem with something like that is the timing. It's not objectively wrong. It's not wrong to bring your players up to the top lane. It's not even wrong to bring your players up to the top lane and decide there's nothing for you there, turn around and go home. That can be the best possible call, and it might have been there. The fact that they missed wave in mid, and they missed the Abyssal Dragon, they were on the exact opposite side of the map, meant it was an objective mistake.
Well, Kuhn doesn't miss his shot coming in, trying to go on Slashman, gets lots of damage in, but he goes down because he's fighting 1v4. Slashman gets a snipe to his face. Good night. Kato is in trouble, though. He's going to take a lot of damage, and he goes down as well. Mai finishing off the job there. Dio versus Mai. Dio is on the chase, but he's going to go back off for now. At the end of the day, the 2-1 in favor of Japan, and they hold about a 400 gold lead.
Is there anyone else
Dio
on
trying to go for the chase.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Oh! Is there anyone else on Malaysia who would like to dive 1v2 in the mid lane? Just asking, because apparently we're accepting open applications. They had a player advantage. It was 4v3, and they had the poke advantage, with Rio just poking in with the snipes, and yet they shocked in alone, waited a bit, then followed through alone, and it just led to a series of 1v2s that, of course, Japan win. Very, very costly losses for no real reason.
Perfect timing, if I do say so myself. In comes Ethereal Pulse, lots of damage coming on to Kuhn, but able to get out of there. Kuhn doing a good job protecting for his team. Mai standing on a sentinel, which means he takes a lot of damage. Oh my goodness. Mai gets out of there by the skin of his teeth. That leaves a free lane here for Dio to start clearing the wave. Lots of damage coming in onto Ray from Slashman, who's starting to farm up a little bit. Seven's going to jump onto 2 here. Now he's going to go ahead and use his triple to just to get away. Here comes Invade onto the Sage Golem. Looks like they're thinking better of it. A little bit of indecision. Here comes the Ethereal Pulse trying to get damage in. Kuhn's very low, so too is Ray. Are they going to get this Sage Golem? In comes the Wild Prison just to make sure that they back off, but the Sage Golem was taken anyway.
That was what I was talking about in the pregame. You could see how low Ray was at the end. Who ate the shots from Kuhn? If you make this composition draft happen without Kuhn, without the Malik, without the physical tank, the poke of Kirito would have gotten at least 1 kill down.
The ironic part is that Kirito was picked after the Malik, which is pretty interesting. But all that aside, King's trying to go in, trying to take this tower. Seven's going to take the 1v3 like he doesn't even care. It's turning to a 1v4 now, but that's okay with 7 because all the mini waves have been cleared already. Meanwhile, Abyssal Dragon take on the bottom lane. Yo is going to go ahead and take it out with the help of Kato. Mai, nothing he can really do because his tower's already down. And he's just going to have to let it happen.
7, Daniel?
Because 8, 9, 10, something like that. I forgot the joke.
Because 7 can 1v5 in the top lane. Here comes Ray. Couldn't here to back him up as well.
Oh my goodness, Keija trying to go for the Ethereal Pulse, misses every single blade. Unfortunately for him, they're still trying to make this happen. Japan loves this top lane, and they're going to make it happen where they want, whether Malaysia likes it or not. But meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we have Dio pushing into that tower. Japan none the wiser at the moment. Looks like we have a rotation here. Mai over there, and everyone's going to go ahead and back off with Kirito again, missing an entire ult.
Look, he's a Kali, he's got plenty to spare.
He got a little bit of damage on the Ray, I guess.
The important thing for Kirito, though, is that he's getting his wave clear, and I'm a little bit worried about that. Here's another engage from Dejawu.
Yeah, Dejawu did miss the wild charge, but he hits this wild prison 2 under it. Mai trying to go in on there. Mukun extremely low as well. Dejawu backs off. Kirito goes with the Ethereal Pulse. King's extremely low. 7 jumps. He switches targets, gets the kill on Dejawu. Bio's going to finish off. King goes to the liquor forward just to finish it off. Now he's going to change target, trying to finish off 1v2, fighting Mai and Kirito in their own jungle. Meanwhile, Malaysia's going to back off, going to take this tower. Kirito can't hold us off by himself. Kato's on the chase. Malaysia's pushing forward, and they're not going to take the tower.
So, the team fight happens. 7 finds a flank, annihilates Dejawu, annihilates an opening pick, then switches, grabs his second, And King thinks he's safe. He thinks that by running behind the tower, he won't be killed. Which is a cue for Rio to flicker underneath the tower and get a kill. I am really astounded by the mechanical skill Malaysia's showing off here in Game 2. Japan need to step it up. They've just lost a whole lot of kills and gold lead. In order to turn that round, they must overcome the fact they've lost these towers and map control and get one of the major objectives currently up while holding on to the other. If they get the Dark Slayer, they don't necessarily need Abyssal, but they're losing this Abyssal. Dejavu can't really intervene. Reset!
So it was actually taken. Well, it was taken in the end. Kato actually takes it, but here comes the Wild Prison. In comes the Wild Charge as well. Kato's extremely low. He gets clapped to death by King 7 trying to take on multiple members. Kato's extremely low. Can he get out of here? No, he cannot. And that is a 2-for-0 for Japan, just in exchange for the Abyssal Dragon. That's a trade they'll take every single time. Classman trying to go in here, uses the vision, going on to the Sage Golem. This is dicey, to say the least, taken here by Ray. Classman taking a lot of damage on the backside. King trying to help him out here. But I was going to say they're going to back off, but Slashman's going to continue to take the farm of Malaysia right under their noses. Mai jumping on the Coon, getting a lot of damage in. But there is no follow-up here with no minion wave. Oh, just kidding. King. Backing off.
He doesn't need to answer to you. He's the king. Slashman's got the right idea. Invade, steal away jungle farm from Kato, and if you can scale, you will be the source of damage late game.
In comes a shock, not holding its gun, but Mai's extremely low. There comes a Thunderbolt, but they're already below the prison. The prison! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Kirito actually takes him out. What? How did he even get that off?
So
I didn't even. Where did he come
left
from?
the two, the soul summoning on top of the wild prison. We just called anti-synergy, but that was actually 6 synergy. The AoE damage from soul summoning was just ticking right on top of the magic of the wild prison. He comes out of the wild prison and is instantly destroyed.
And off the back of that, Japan does take the mid tower. They were trying to get that the entire time. Finally, it pays off, and now they have themselves a 1,500 gold lead, and they have all of the tier 1 towers down. They are turning their attention to the Abyssal Dragon, which is coming up soon. Darkslayer obviously up and available as well.
Slash Moon still kind of my focus for Japan. Kirito's doing pretty good at holding them at bay, but they need the burst damage late game Slash Moon can offer from the jungle. He's done much better farming this time round. He's already got his rank breaker. He's currently building towards that Cloud Sanctity.
Kirito, even though I make fun of him for missing his Ethereal Pulse, the fact that he keeps throwing out means is really annoying. He also has Frostcape, or Frost's Revenge, which slows them all down. And that can be very annoying if you are Malaysia. Kirito going to continue to just push out this mid wave, trying to get some positioning on this Dark Slayer.
Just poke for now.
Speaking of poke, they're poking the Dark Slayer at the moment. Yo's just setting up shop here. He's invisible. They don't know he's there. There's a knockup by the Dark Slayer. Very well done by them. There is the pool on the ground to try to take it. This is very dicey. In comes the prison underground, the wild prison. Eric Kim comes Ray. Amazing, and this is stolen by Kato. They take it away from them. All the members of Malaysia jump in. That is 2 members of Japan already down. King's in trouble. Mai trying to run away as well. It's a huge clean from Kun. That means that Tulin's going to go down. So too is King. Inevitably, Kirito has no mana to his name. He's going to try to take out Ray. Nearly does, actually. But here is the Drake. And this could actually be game. Thankfully for Japan, they have their best wave clear hero left. But that's all they're holding on to right now.
That disaster is entirely at the foot of King, as he's unable to get out ahead and keep the opponents away from the Dark Slayer pen. Now they'll need to hold with just 3 members.
Oh my god, the Ethereal comes in. They're doing a good job blocking, but the in comes Dejuan. They get 1 kill out of it. Ray does go down, was extremely low that entire time. Slashwood here to clean up the mess. Malaysia, a little bit of an overextension, but only Ray goes down. They're going to back off. They're going to take all of the farm away from Japan, and they're going to take the gold lead now. Japan
just got so lucky on minion timing. Their wave spawned right as Malaysia approached the core. If that goes any other way, if it's a second later, the Drake is within aggro range and the minions are within range of the core to the extent that the debuff applies, and Malaysia are just able to burn that down. With Rio and Kano,
looks like a 4v1.
they would have gotten it.
Well, here comes a shock in. Oh my goodness, Slashman goes down immediately. 7, good
Oh!
job following up on that Coon. He goes for the cleave onto Mai. And Mai is going to get out of there off the back of a Dejuo Wild Prison.
I
But
talk up
that is
Slashmoon
dicey
as a
at
major
least.
source of damage. In the face of 7, he's got a Nerf gun. 7 is a fed Florentino, and it's been a while since we've seen one of those. He's hitting like a very sharp pillow.
Speaking of which, oh my goodness, Dejuo tries to go in. Kato's extremely low. The Wild Person did land, but 7 lands everything on him. He evaporates like it's nothing. 7 does miss the Blossom afterward, though, so he's got to get on out of there. If he didn't miss that Blossom, oh my god, Mai is gone.
That snipe was perfect! Rio leads the shot, finds a tiny little angle by which he can get her. And you needed vision for that. The reason he was able to land that shot was because he had 7 pushing forward ahead of him to give him an idea of where the players were.
He even had the Sentinel there too, I believe. So that could have been there as well. He just, these forward Sentinels that the other team has no timing to take out. That can be a huge deal, and especially because it allows for more damage to get on them. On the other side, though, Mai's going to be back up. The Dark Slayer is up in 15 seconds, and this has suddenly gotten very tense. Taking stock up in the jungle here. Kirito throws a Ethereal Bolt. Not a whole lot of damage done, but there's a wild charge. Kun goes in. He's going to have to shock out of there after the Hurricane Wall is blown as well. That's a lot of ults down right before this Dark Slayer comes back up. Lots of Sentinels are gone. They know they're coming. Dejo comes in, takes a huge shot to the face. There goes Kun. He's taking a lot of damage here. In comes Thunderburn, gets blocked. They're pushing in though. Is Japan King getting in? Slashman on the side. Oh my god, they're all in a row. That means Zeshiwa goes down first. Kato is extremely low as well, but he gets one before he goes down. Mai trying to get the damage in. Slashman and Mai are the only ones left. They're getting chased upon. Slashman can't hold on. I don't think Mai can either. They're jumping on them. 7, here comes the shock. 7 jumping on him. Mai goes down. That is a wipe, and that has to be game.
Slashmoon threw maybe one attack that entire fight, got completely separated, was useless to the team when they needed him most.
Malaysia showing Japan that they have the experience, that they've been here before, that they've been on this kind of stage. Well, kind of, not on the international stage, but they've played for a while. They've had a server for a while. They say to Japan, just wait a moment, it's our time now.
The record currently 2-4 as they take that series win, their first to the AWC. Japan 0-7.
0-8.
You're right. This is why you're the numbers boy.
You just it's a nice trick. If it's odd, then it's probably wrong, unless you're in the middle of a series.
So, Japan, we're seeing the weaknesses kind of consistently exposed at this point. It's all about how uncoordinated they get under pressure. You saw that a couple times during team fights. In particular, I'd like to call out to that last one, where Slashmoon got cut off by the fight. The fight's all concentrated, and Slashmoon leaves. He's trying to find a good angle to circle round where he won't instantly get burned down by Kaito or 7. But because he's so far away, he threw like one attack in. It hit Dejuo, who didn't notice, or sorry, it hit Kun, who didn't notice. And then they had already lost all their members by the time Slashmoon was in position to deal damage, and they just got overrun. While your tanks have 4 to 5 people on top of them, the fight's going well if you're a Lindis. You need to be there hitting them while your tanks are being attacked, because that is the perfect moment. If 4 or 5 people are all diving to kill your Baldum and your Yabeneth, you have a solid 3 to 5 seconds during which you should be doing all of the team's damage. The fact that Slashmoon, and you can see it here on the scorelines, failed to consistently provide that damage during the team fights is what cost Japan that game. 23%.
And you saw Slashmoon in that last team fight going around the side a little bit, and you can tell he's not used to the mobile marksman flitting in and out of fights. You can totally tell that he likes to be in the bag, providing that damage from the backline and just firing away with a Yorn or a Telenos. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case here.
It was almost like he got too far forward. He
Yeah.
got like too aggressive and then just didn't have anyone nearby him who he felt he could hit comfortably.
Right. He was too far forward and yet not far forward enough, which is
Well, he
doesn't
was
make any sense.
He was like in a good position objectively, but it was obvious he felt real uncomfortable there. He was like, "What do I do?"
Well, the thing is, I saw him on the side, and I'm like, you can get some damage in now, but the instant they see you there, they're just gonna kill you. So yeah, it didn't go too well for him. Clearly, Slash Moon not so comfortable in that jungle role. Clearly, they had issues because they were switching their junglers around between Soda, between Mai, and between Slash Moon. Didn't work out for them there. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be a winless time for Japan, as they're not going to face anyone easier, I would imagine, for the rest of the tournament. But that means that we do have Chinese Taipei and Thailand coming up next. It's going to be a banger of a match coming up next. You do not want to miss it. Stick around, guys.
Một nguy cơ lại còn đó là
Thêm cả Biếc nữa. Không, Dên đã làm Biếc cũng để là Mai không. Cả Mai và Sốt nằm xuống rồi. Tiếp theo đó là Kun.
希望我的队友们平常心打吧，发挥出各自的实力就好。就第一把我们打得太紧张了，就没有办法发挥出平时的团练的效果。打得太急躁。29号我们马来西亚队会调整状态，29号你们要担心我们，我们很强。
I think they're kind of overestimating themselves. They're not really realizing how tough the AWC really is with all these regions coming together and fighting for, $500,000 of the prize pool, of course. So yeah, I think they're just overestimating themselves and they don't actually know what's coming ahead of them.
But I think we're going to put our 100% effort to it no matter what.
Of course. Yeah.
So, of course.
I think the reason that I got all 3 MVPs today was because I focused a lot on just farming myself up, always being when my team needed me, pushing the towers whenever I was needed. I was always at the objectives that needed me.
我对我自己的表现应该是还不错，可以加油。然后印象深刻就是我最后一场玩达尔西的时候，在中路，然后差点被佛罗伦杀死的时候，我一直叫芬达救我，芬达救我，芬达救我。希望你们不要遇到我们，你们等着啊，你们马上遇到我们，马上就回国啊。
你们辛苦了，我会加油。我非常信任我的队友，然後我們會一起努力到世界冠軍。今日一日を通してチャイニーズ台北ワールドカードとノースアメリカと戦ってみて自分たちのパフォーマンスは思ったより低かったです。というのも日本ではこういった大きな大会に出るのが初めてで緊張だったり不安が影響してですねチームのメンタルがちょっと普段通りのメンタルではなかったのかなと思います。29日の試合では今日の不安や緊張などを全部なくして前向きに全部勝つつもりで頑張りたいと思います。
Thì trong cả hai trận với Bắc Mỹ và Thái Lan, bọn em đều thua game đấu thứ nhất và có được giành chiến thắng ở game đấu thứ hai. Thì sau những cái game thua đó thì bọn em thường trấn tĩnh lại bản thân, không suy nghĩ gì quá nhiều cả và cố gắng làm cho cái chiến thuật của mình hoàn hảo ở trong game đấu thứ hai để mình có được chiến thắng, chứ cũng không đánh quá nhiều vào những cái gì mà đối phương đang có. Okay. So here and here, yeah. Lý do mà em có cái hành động đấy thì bởi vì ở Việt Nam Wildcard ở Việt Nam là một đội tuyển rất là nhiều fan và thường thì em khi mà tham gia những cái giải đấu lớn thì thường làm một số những hành động trên camera khiến cho fan rất là thích thú. Thì với cái hành động này ở trong một giải solo thì người ta thường gọi em là công năng lực dị hay là Super Magic, thì em đã giành chiến thắng cái giải đấu đó bằng những cái hành động nó vui vẻ như vậy. Thì thực ra bản chất thì hôm nay em làm cái hành động đó chỉ để cho vui và các bạn khán giả cảm thấy vui thôi, bởi vì chủ yếu là team của em thì có rất là nhiều fan tại Việt Nam.
Tôi rất hào hứng và mong chờ đến ngày 29 chúng tôi sẽ đánh bại Nhật Bản và Malaysia 2-0 và tiếp đến là đối đầu với Đài Bắc Trung Hoa. Trong trận đấu với là Bắc Mỹ em có đạt một danh hiệu MVP. Thì em cũng cảm thấy là bình thường, tại vì em mỗi lần biết Superman thì toàn được MVP.
ก็คะแนนวันนี้ที่เราได้มาคือก็น่าพอใจอยู่ครับเราทำให้เราอยู่ในโซนที่เราปลอดภัยแล้วก็เหลืออีก2แมตช์เราก็น่าจะคิดว่าน่าจะได้แต้มเพิ่มมาอีกนิดหน่อยทำให้เราเข้ารอบต่อไปได้ก็เราจะทำให้เต็มที่ครับแล้วก็ถึงเราจะแพ้ในวันนี้แต่วันข้างหน้าเราจะแข็งแกร่งขึ้น
대만 같은 경우는 이제 운영 위주의 플레이를 많이 하는데 이제 태국 같은 경우에는 이제 한타 위주의 플레이를 많이 합니다. 그래서 이제 이 태국의 한타의 맛을 한번 보여주도록 하겠습니다.
we're back with the rest of the AWC group stage. It's day number 3, day number 2 of Group A, and the last few games have yet to go.
What did you just say? What?
It's day number 3, day number 2 of
Yes.
Group A.
Day number 3, day number 2? Oh, I get it, I get it.
Don't question me, D2, who is my co-commentator here today. I'm, of course, TJ, and we do have an exciting match ahead of us. I'm back on the play-by-play now. You just have to accept it. Chinese Taipei wildcard facing off against Thailand wildcard. And I've been waiting for this since I saw the groups.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Thailand play today. It's been a long wait. It's the 4th match of the day. Thailand, of course, played 3 times the other day. And we're seemingly on their way to a perfect day 1 until a very resilient, a very stubborn Vietnam team decided to come back like the little rascals they are and take game number 2 from them. So that leaves them in 5-1. Chinese Taipei were 4-0 after their first day, but that was against Japan and Malaysia. So we're kind of like, that's supposed to happen. Today, we've seen them tie 1-1 against North America, which leaves them at 5-1, same score as their opponents.
I just realized I've had my scores wrong on this stream.
Oh, did my math just fix you?
Yeah. I think you should just do all number math from now on. We're getting into the draft phase for this first game. Of course, the Chinese Taipei roster, we saw a stellar performance from them earlier today. Chura is my MVP standout, mostly because every single time the production in Da Nang has had to assign an MVP, they've rightly, mind you, I think, given it to him.
Yeah, he's been an absolute beast every single time, and particularly when he gets to play his mobile assassins like Murad and like Nakroff. I do want to say, though, that Hualin has been an unsung hero for them. He's been filling in wherever needed. In fact, when he played against NA, I was struck in the middle of that game that he was playing Hayate. He's normally their mid lane player, and yet when they play Hayate, they entrust him to do so. So whatever needs filling, or whatever hard hero needs playing, Hualin is there to take it up.
He's here to stand in the front lines, opposing him. Surely not.
Omega!
Lol.
Omega lol.
It'll be teamy instead. Nice. Didn't we say we were going to do like this? Okay, coming into game. Can we do the into-game call in sync?
How do you do that?
I'm always like, we're heading into game number blank.
One
of Thailand versus Chinese. We'll do it. It'll work. We'll just wing it. You know what I think. We actually oftentimes say sentences exactly the same way.
I thought you were going to let me finish that. We're not in sync at all, because I was like getting ready to fill in, and you're like, we always get to finish this sentence the exact same way, and I'm going to bulldoze through this, not let Daniel finish it like normally the joke would go.
I mean, it would have been funny. The draft continues. From the left side with the Sephora. Florentino teaming for Chinese Taipei. It is wild how differently we like construct sentences. You are completely right.
You know what's funny is that, in case the listeners didn't notice, which would be wild, we did switch roles last series, and I was thinking at the beginning that, TJ does a good job play-by-play. I should try to copy what he does. And then after 2 seconds of that, I'm like, that's a bad idea. That's never gonna work. I can't even think like he does. So let's just talk like I do.
Yeah, I mean, the way someone constructs a sentence is a window into their soul. Speaking of windows into the soul, one of the other ways you can get an idea of who somebody is as a human being is whether or not they draft Scud. And Thailand Wildcard does. They have Baldum, Sephora, and Scud. The character whose very name makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. As though somebody has just scudded all over my dreams.
Now that you mentioned, I never even thought about that, but it's like, Scud. It's like, oh,
What did you buy at the store, honey? Oh, just some Scud.
Why do you need that for? You already cleaned the bathroom.
Telenas over on the right side will be there in answer, and this looks real good to me for Chinese Taipei, because they have that top lane matchup, Florentino into Scud. That's why Thailand drafted, because everyone thinks Scud is a viable answer to Florentino, and they're just wrong. I refuse to believe it.
You know what? The Facebook chat, our Facebook chat thinks so too. I went between games and decided to be a sleuth and look in there. And like a bad sleuth, I actually typed as well. But there were people saying Scud just crushes Florentino. I was like, if Florentino could get crushed by anyone, I doubt he'd be banned and picked so often. I don't think that's a thing.
It's what they were trying to remove from the bathroom floor. Some Florentino. Builds up in the cracks.
I see where you went there. The mix-up.
Malak will be there with the Telenas.
Actually, not that you mentioned it, sorry to throw you off again.
Okay.
Florentino sounds like something you would use to clean up Scud.
Which, rather appropriately, it is.
Yeah, in
What's
this game
that
as well.
you've gotten all over the top lane? Is that Scud? We'll have to use some Florentino on that.
It actually sounds so perfect. It sounds so right. Oh my goodness.
I don't think this is called casting anymore, for the record. So, Telenas
Totally
Malak,
is.
he said, desperately trying to address the game, will give them frontline, backline, fortress setup. You also have the teaming as well. Like I said, I really like this draft from Chinese Taipei Wildcard.
So, Thailand sees their fortress and they're like, I'll show you a fortress. And they're going to put NT on Yorn. Now, NT has been an excellent...
Everything past the Scud pick makes no sense to me.
Crickneck is okay.
Sure. In this matchup, I'm not sure it's great. You can target the Telenas, but there's a Resurrect from the teaming. So,
yeah,
doesn't seem like a good call.
This is interesting. It's like Teamy and Tel are the standard marksman and the babysitter, and then Baldom and the Yorn are just like the poor version of that. Because Baldum's great at lifting you off the backline, but he can only do it once. Whereas Teamy just completely resurrects you back to life no matter how much damage is coming. So that's why Teamy is considered slightly better to pick. And then we have Tel also versus Yorn, and as we all know, Tel can actually move a little bit between doing ridiculous damage, whereas Yorn actually literally stands still.
And Chinese Taipei get a Rourke as well. They have completely outdrafted Thailand. Like, beat for beat across the board. This is a complete and utter domination in the draft.
Well, Thailand does have a mage. And Chinese Taipei doesn't.
The Telenas will do enough magic damage to make up for that, I think.
No, but I mean, Telenas' counterpart is Yorn, but like the counterpart of Sephra is Malak. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
Sure, and they both actually equate pretty well, because the Sephra's role on the team fight is to come in with a big AoE ult and switch the team fight on its head, and the Malak will do the same as that. But the Malak also functions as a secondary front line of the fortress, and that's something that the Sephra can't do.
Right, but Sephra, once she gets Apocalypse, really starts getting that poke damage out.
I just don't see the poke bothering the Malak in the slightest.
You poke someone else then.
I really feel like Sephra versus Telenas, lost matchup. Even late game, Sephra
maybe
will
that's just me
absolutely
playing
shred
against bad Tel.
You need to spend if you spend the Tides of Life perfectly, you can dodge a portion of the Eagle Eye. But oftentimes, the Tides of Life is actually a mistake in the matchup against Telenas, because you go into the Tides of Life and then there's a Soul Arrow as soon as you come out of it for a perfect stun. You ready? 3, 2, 1. We're into game number 1 between, it was just me, Thailand and Chinese Taipei.
Wait,
Wildcard,
I thought it was...
respectively.
I thought it was filling in. I thought it was like we were gonna alternate. I didn't think we
No,
were gonna go
we were doing it together.
at the same time.
See, this is we're at.
We can try again.
We got to. Okay,
We can try
sure.
again.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. We're into game
We're in
number
game
one.
number
of,
one.
Okay,
You did it
I
on
give
purpose.
up.
You slowed down on purpose. Oh my god. You totally, that was purposeful.
We'll
with the
try
meaning.
again on land. This isn't.
Oh.
It's not working well online. I'll be honest.
We need a conductor. We need someone to be like moving the thing around. The baton.
I'd hire Suijay for that. Taos
Hmm.
in the top lane on this, I think, default loss matchup. Suijay's commanding. He could get us in line.
Yeah, that's not the problem I have with being a conductor.
Okay.
I'm talking about like a musical conductor. I feel like for some reason Opal just seems. This has nothing to do with Opal and Tuesday's casting, by the way, so don't read into it. I just feel like Opal looks like a conductor.
Yeah, he's got a very authoritarian air about him. I'll repeat.
No, it's just the hair. It's just the hair. That's all.
Taos in trouble. There's that burst damage. Taos barely manages to get out. Has to burn the flicker to stay alive. Fanta's down in trade. Good engage for Thailand as they get first blood.
TJ, are you kidding me with Hawk? Last time we saw Hawk on Sephira, he was hitting every single flicker water wall. This time, immediate water wall, immediate kill. You know, all your plans, all your predictions can go awry when Hawk just dominates like this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure my analysis is wrong, but I'm also not sure that it matters if Thailand just outplay everything.
Yeah, and the only other player we've seen on Yorn has been Slash Moon. Now we get to see NT on Yorn.
I'm excited. NT's got to land the shots, though, and not get rushed down by the Rourke in the backlines. Here's the flank around the side. Ooh, NT. Running close to the line.
He likes the line. He's fine. Ooh, Tao's beating Kid. Everything you've ever thought, TJ, is just wrong this game.
I refuse to believe it. Kid was already live.
This is just fantastic. I love this game already.
Hawk and Chaos saying in the mid lane will be kind of this duo attacking force. They're going to try and get in close range against Huan Lin. You were saying you thought Sephira could hold against that. Like I said, I doubted it, although things haven't been working well for Chinese Taipei Wildcard. They lose an Abyssal as well.
Oh my goodness, Shanyo taking so much damage. NT is just bowling it back. This has actually been a really good decision by Thailand to put the heroes where they have them, because Yorn is having a really nice time, and in the mid, Sephira. Oh, Taos.
Just going in.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Wild Beast Fury, but it's a bait. He flickers away. There's the stun. Booty Poots, 3 members there, and it's a kill back to Chinese Taipei.
I really thought that Taos had somehow gotten away from that 1v3, but I guess not.
Then clean the scud off the floor in the top lane.
And they're going for the minion cut too.
Rush will go in on this.
Ooh,
The drug drop just to stay away from Shura. Baiting in and out there. Very nicely done. Shura heals himself back up with Spirit Sentinel in the bot lane. Fanta has somehow rotated all the way down there. He's been playing a real good support.
Hawk misses, or an uncharacteristic miss on the water wall. Normally he hits all of them, but I guess it's hard to hit when someone's in the bush. That could have been a death of Tura though. And again, Tura is playing not the most mobile of heroes on Rourke. Yeah, he gets a couple of dashes, but it's not anything like Nekroth or Murad, so he has not been as beastly as we're accustomed to seeing him.
Give him time. This is early game Rourke. It's a little bit scary to play as. Wait till he gets late game. Wait till he even gets mid game.
Well, Rourke, he's supposed to be good
My faith
early
is
game.
unwavering.
Okay. You know what's the funny thing about Hawk and KSSA in mid is it's interestingly good synergy because Hawk just tries to bait them in by just continuously poking, but once they go in, KSSA flips them over. So weirdly enough, it ends up working out.
Is apparently 30%.
30%.
They lose the vast majority of their first tower engages, which is interesting considering their 5-1 record.
My stream has completely went kaput, so I need to hold on for a moment.
All right, I'll take over for you. I can be both the color and the play-by-play. Sure, up for the poke in mid. He'll go in. Oh, he's pulled in. But there's the determination to hold Tides of Life from Hawk. Will keep him alive, and Rush is phased out as Phantom flickers back behind the tower. You see, TJ, that was an incredibly good play because he was able to use the speed of Teamy in the Pooty Poots to stay ahead of the dive, simultaneously getting forward to save the fight and bailing.
I appreciate it. I'm back. Not sure what happened. It just wouldn't. One of the clean features doesn't work for me anymore. Anyway, that's a problem for someone else.
Truly. Jeonyo and Fanta have the top lane still. There was a skirmish in the mid lane, but Chinese Type High came out on top. Now the Wild Beast Fury will come through. Kid wants to fight, but he's underneath the tower. That's not the safety zone. He still somehow lives through a lot, and the tower will go down as a result. But Jura, can he get out from this? Easily.
They still get the kill on the Kid, and that is not really what Chinese Taipei wants. They're trying to jump onto the bottom, and they still get the tower top. So at the end of the day, he add up everything on the tally is an extra kill over to Chinese, or excuse me, to Thailand.
Did you just abbreviate Teleanalysis to Helen?
I don't think I even mentioned her, but maybe I did.
I'd be upset. Tower will be destroyed in mid. The Talifa is a little bit late, but you could see Hua Lin trying to get the damage in. This is a very strong early game to Thailand, benefiting from their Yorn. And one of the things that's worrying me so far is we've yet to see a credible threat onto that Yorn.
Yeah, and people talk about positioning in team fights, but NT's positioning just in general, like where he goes on the map, is been immaculate as well. Like he knows where the opponent might be at any given time, and that's been super helpful in order to make sure that Chinese Taipei doesn't even have the right heroes in the right places to take him out.
They swapped Kid down to the bottom lane, so they're chasing that Scud matchup, which makes it seem like they agree with me. There's the Dark Slayer as the focus, Rush and NT. Now Hawk joined all on it. They'll get that Dark Slayer with no contest. Thailand still a strong lead.
I think that Chinese Taipei didn't even know that was happening. A lot of times teams know, but they don't want to contest. I don't even think they realized that was going on. It's just a really good rotation there by Thailand. And being able to do it with only Crickneck and Yorn is very powerful. One of the good things about having Yorn in your team is you can just burn down a Dark Slayer like that.
The great dragon has been summoned.
Kaz is saying Jeonyo and Fanta all doing nothing right now. All slacking.
It's the extended bush meta.
At least Thailand wildcard have an excuse for it. They're waiting for this Drake to arrive. It has now. Jeonyo clears the way, but they will probably have to sacrifice this tower. They don't really have enough mobility for it, so they're just trying to trade on the other side of the map. They're unfortunately nowhere near the tower on the other side of the map, and they'll lose the one up top with very little damage on the Drake. This is going to be a lot of towers to Thailand. They're running away with this game.
Being a bro was used as well when Phantom wasn't even really that low. And Yorn is one of the better tower busters in the game because the amazing AoE damage that he has from a long distance. He can actually hit heroes and towers at the same time.
Speaking of, tower gone, shock through, Jeonyo to the front lines, but the tower's already gone. Kid comes in on the flank, trying to make the damage happen, but he's 1v4 as the rest of his team bails, and Chaos does the damage in the meantime, absolutely slaughtering the back lines. That should be the game number one picked up. The respawns are 30 seconds away. My predictions are proved astonishingly wrong as Thailand take game number one dominantly.
Thailand showing the rest of the group who is boss. What a beautiful performance by them. Who'd have thought that between Thailand and Chinese Taipei, it would be a 10-minute game?
I kept waiting for Chinese Taipei to get in the game. I kept waiting for them to, like, figure it out.
Well, the problem was they were too. They were waiting too. They're like, maybe we should wait in this bush. No, that's not how you do it. That's not it, Chief. It's not how you get back into the game.
That was an astonishingly strong performance from Thailand. They destroyed that match. There is no two ways about it.
I didn't want to jump too strong on the Thailand side, but I have seen NT just do this before as a Yorn, as immobile heroes.
So,
and I had faith.
Quick question, with Thailand wildcard doing this, and Thailand main team doing what we saw yesterday, does this mean Thailand wildcard is the strongest Thai team in the tournament?
I think so. And
Oof.
I think it's because they're finally coming together. It took them the entire RPL season and the Thai road to AWC and the start of this tournament, but they're finally coming together. And as we said before, they may have the most talent on the roster of any roster in the entire world. And we're going to it's a little bit of a tangent, but the main Thailand team, they really rely on having that split focus from Sun and J-Jock and filling in around it. And this Thailand wildcard team, there's no such gimmicks. It's just solid play all around.
Yeah. No time for gimmicks, no time for shenanigans, just time for quick, dominant wins. Here's your final stats screen, and you can see exactly where things fell short. While Lin, the Telenaut, was banking so much on 17% of the damage. 8,366, barely worth mentioning, less than the opposing Baldom. There's a stat for you.
Okay, look at this. So, look at Kid's damage, 32.6%, right? Tao's 20%. Tao's has 8,000 more. Like, that is insane. Did more damage.
Overall team damage is astonishing, and Towns gets that VP on the scud. I didn't feel like he was a great part of the team. I actually don't know why he got the MVP there, because he played fine, but...
Yeah. Maybe they gave him a little bit of handicap because he's going against Florentino. I really think that NT or Hawk were the MVP there. They were just completely dominating their lanes the entire time.
Come on.
Yeah.
Hard to disagree with the production team. I think NT carried that match. I'll flame him. Not scared. Alright, game 2. What needs to change in a sentence? How do Chinese Taipei get in the game?
Draft a mage. There's your sentence.
Alright, I appreciate it. We'll go to a quick break. We'll be back. It's game number 2 of this matchup, and between two favorites, it ought to be much closer. That in and of itself would be a victory for Chinese Taipei, though, as game 1 was dominant. Their shot at redemption, and game number 2 after a quick break. We're back and already in the draft here at the AWC 2019. It's game number 2 between Chinese Taipei wildcard and the wildcard roster of Thailand. Things could not have been more anticlimactic game 1. Thailand absolutely swept aside the team that was supposed to be their rivals in the groups, and it didn't look like a crazy aggressive, dominant performance. It was just Thailand doing their thing while Chinese Taipei struggled to respond. Have they built something in this draft? D2, who's joining me, TJ, in this cast, they will change that. I got it all in there.
Eventually. I think they're kind of flustered in a way because they start off with the Baldom as if that was like the issue. It wasn't really. And none of this drives with what they've done at all throughout this entire tournament.
You're not happy at all with the start of the draft for Chinese Taipei. They got a Roxy and a Kali behind Baldom. It'll be Florentino, Elsu, Tulan. Drafting Kali into Elsu. Real upsetting for me. Drafting Kali into Elsu, Tulan. Well, they didn't... I don't think it could have been worse.
Yeah, and you can see that Thailand wildcard, which, by the way, you can see their coach on the screen right now, and that reminds me that they are the AHQ roster. They have lots of structure behind this team. They're well prepared every single time, and they know their counters, TJ. And they see a call and they go, boom, Tulin, let's win that mid lane.
I mean, why not? This is like a real good draft again for Thailand. Game 1, I said Thailand had been outdrafted at every corner, and they still dominated. Game 2, they're outdrafting Chinese Taipei. And if their results from Game 1 are anything to go by, that should be real scary.
So what exactly about Game 1 did you think was game losing for them? I mean, before the game started.
Before the game started, I thought Thailand had lost every single lane matchup, and their only path to victory was if they miraculously kept the Yorn alive. I thought the Krignak dive would be shut down repeatedly by the Rourke, and there was so much good defense by the Teamy that even if they did get onto the backline, there would be 6 Resurrects. And then as the game got underway, I don't think we saw a single Teamy Resurrect from Chinese Taipei. We never saw Tura get a kill. We never saw the Yorn get touched. Thailand outplayed a bad draft. Now game 2, they have a real good draft.
Right, and the reasons why what you assumed ended up falling apart were because Sephra beats Telenos early, and especially if you have Hawk, who's just a beast. Also, by having that matchup mid, that meant that Yorn was just going to wail on Malik bottom the entire time, and that was always going to be ridiculously in Yorn's favor, particularly because NT was playing Yorn. And so that meant that Teamy didn't know where to go. He's like, do I help this lane? Do I help that lane? Everything's falling apart around me. And after that had all happened, Florentino needed to be dominating top. He wasn't doing that either. So they just weren't winning their lane matchups. And on top of that, Tura, like we've said before, he's more used to playing mobile assassin junglers rather than going for the more clunky work. So just all across the map, things weren't comfortable.
No, they were not comfortable, as we found out. Now let's talk about this Game 2 draft. Ryoma, Kali, Fennec is the bottom 3, with Boulder Broxy already discussed. Chinese Taipei
who's jungle?
wildcard. What are they building towards?
Who's jungle, by the way?
Fennec? Maybe Ryoma. Could go either way.
I'm not even going to comment on Chinese Taipei because everything changes depending where they put their heroes. The Rourke pick on the side of Thailand, Rush is very good at Rourke. He's played it quite a lot before, going all the way back to last year's AIC. So I'm not worried about that. Looks like they're sticking NT on Elsu. I'm pretty sure that he's just going to stick in the bottom lane. And then Hawk can kind of wreak havoc on Hualin in the center with a Tulin Kali matchup. Taos gets his Florentino, so maybe he can exact some revenge on Kid, or continue the onslaught, I suppose, against Roxy. And we have that Xenial support, which we've seen in the past, but only from J-Jock. Looks like it's something that the other Thailand wildcard team is picking up.
So, do you agree with my assessment that this is a great draft for Thailand?
Yeah. The Fennec is going to have to do a lot here. And we did see that it did go to the jungle. Tura did pick that up. I'm of the belief that...
We talked about this. Fennec, God buffed Fennec is powerful. I've yet to be convinced that he's meta.
The issue with Fennec right now is that he's a completely different hero. Right? It wasn't just a straight buff of the numbers. It was a complete rework of his kit, which means he plays like a marksman version of Tulin. So you got to build him at least a little bit tanky so he can take a couple of hits while he goes in and deals his damage. You're not going to really get much done unless you get double rolling lightning, right? You get in Thief's Mark, rolling lightning, proc the stun / damage, and then rolling lightning out. And we need to see Tura be extremely aggressive in that fashion.
Well, we'll have a shot. Do you want to do this in sync?
Sure.
3, 2, 1. It's game number 2.
Game number 2 between Thailand and Chinese Taipei.
We could not have got.
I adjusted though, because I was about to say we're getting into game, and and then you said it's, and I'm like, oh no, he's right on game number 2. I adjusted a little bit, but then it was just a 50-50. Like, were you gonna say Chinese Taipei? I guess it was better to say the
I'm
bottom
always
left
gonna go
side
with
first.
Chinese Taipei first because it's a double, because it has more syllables, and you want the punchy Thailand to end.
Oh, I thought. Well, you could say Chinese Taipei, but I guess my thought was you were going with the team in the
Chinese Taipei and Thailand.
Wild card.
I didn't say that bit.
Wild card. Wild card.
Poke across the map as my co-caster repeats the word wild card. Hawk and KSSA will be pushing into the jungle trying to start these things.
I love how you stopped because you thought I might say something interesting. And you're like, hold on, let me hold for D2 for a second.
I thought that was going somewhere.
No. What?
It was not. It was like a Pikachu.
Call me Ryan Reynolds because no one knows what I'm trying to say. Anyway.
Oh,
hello.
Exactly
NT is destroying Shanyo.
He is.
And oh my goodness.
Absolutely shredding the bot lane. KSSA and Hawk will be in the mid lane, looking for a little bit more pressure. This has been really aggressive from Thailand immediately, right across the board. You could see them abuse the fact they have this Xennial in support to get real far into the enemy jungle. Xennial, of course, is going to be very tanky right off the bat. This has been a lot of fun to watch.
It definitely has. Talos has to get out of there on top, though. But I want to mention that in order for NT to have chunked Shanyo that much, it had to be all... Oh, never mind. Taos.
In trouble. Underneath the tower. They will get the kill. It's Harry, but it gets pulled down.
Oh, no. That was... It's Harry got a... Never mind. Okay, sorry. Okay. Everything's good, TJ. I'm sorry for that little lapse.
Critique your color.
Oh,
Bot lane will be pressure against the Abyssal Dragon. You can see Zhanyo dueling Hawk for control of the area. Nobody has enough control of it to comfortably go for the dragon, but it's clearly on both teams' minds. Here's Fanta. In with an Ethereal Pulse. Good damage on KSSA. No kill. Fanta buys space. The snipe is barely short, but the kill still comes through with an Angelic Splendor to keep Hawk alive. Rush finds damage on the Tura. That's going to be the kill coming through. Zhanyo eats snipes. And Z doing big damage this whole time. This snipe barely short.
Rush was able to sidestep that Agnes Grass at the very last moment. And you see some of the issues here with Fennec. He needs to get in, needs to continuously get the shots off after the Thieves Marks comes off, or else you're not doing what you need to. But that allows Rush to deal the damage right back in his face. And that's not what you want.
Has to jump away. That was a good little ethereal pulse to scare him back.
This dragon seems like it's going over to Thailand.
And it will. That's a good lock-in for Thailand. It undoes a lot of the gold that could have been gained back by Chinese Taipei. They were looking to get a lot of pressure across the map. They gave that up to consolidate around the dragon. Having lost the dragon, they didn't get any map pressure either.
Right, and the only thing that Chinese Taipei has going for them this game so far is that pick up top on the kid. Everything else has gone Thailand wildcard's way.
Tura will be able to grab that Sage buff and keep going here down to the bottom side of the map. This Fennec needs to be a carry for the team.
Which is exactly why Thailand wildcard's trying to deny as much farm as possible.
Wild Prison will connect. Hawk with the flicker over the wall. Will need to return to the fight. KSSA eating a lot of damage, but this snipe lands, but it will not confirm the kill. Chura has his own first blood. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that was very well done by the side of Chinese Taipei to get in there. Rush is just going to jump on Kid in response.
Determination. Kid eating a lot of damage. Thunderbird to chase the kill. Oh my god, shot. Yo, tries to body block, but the HP he was relying on to take the hit is stripped away by Rush just as the Thunderbird connects. He doesn't have time to realize his mistake. He's gone.
Exactly, and that was actually good synergy by the two Koreans there, because as Hawk releases his Thunderbird, Rush realizes that's going to be blocked by Shanyo. So instead of continuing to jump on Kid, he just bursts down Shanyo instead. That means that Shanyo just dies to the Thunderbird, and they're able to get the double kill.
Nicely done. Just like that, that's going to be 2 kills up top, a tower down bottom. Good, clean pressure across the board from Thailand. Now we have to start asking the questions. Was game 1 a fluke from Chinese Taipei? Or did Chinese Taipei playing to maximum efficiency and just being completely outclassed by Thailand wildcard right now?
I think they're being completely outclassed, but they could be playing better. And they're really just letting things go into into Thailand's way. And Thailand, to their credit, are doing what they're capable of doing. But Chinese Taipei really aren't bringing it right now.
So what needs to improve from them? How do they get better in this very match in the next few minutes?
Oh, I don't even know, because it starts with the draft. But I guess we can't really do that right now. Let's see. What are they gonna do to get back into this match? It's really hard. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. They need to focus on getting Hualin his poke first, and then going in on the damage instead of trying to force things right now.
Angelic Splendor Rush stays alive. There's Kid. He's gone. Thunderbird across the map. The longest range Thunderbird I've seen all year. And Hawk gets a kill from it. Hualin chained down. That was a 6 snipe from NT.
Oh my goodness. So that's exactly what I didn't want them to do, is to continue just to fight and brawl within the ranks of them. They need to have that initial advantage of Hualin's poke damage, or else they're never going to get these kills. If they just fight straight up, there's going to be a case of say
he eye-frames the Thunderbird with Rolling Lightning!
Yeah, good job.
What?
It's a pretty long.
Man.
It's not a frame. It's very many frames though. it's actually one of the easier ones. I'm not gonna give him that much credit. It's easier than a L'Oreal Blink. It's easier than a Lily Unpredictable. It's a really long slide.
You're a stingy bastard. That was impressive as hell.
I mean, okay, as much as we're piling on Chinese Taipei, they are very, very talented individually. So if Tura can't do that, then just pack it up. That's what I'm trying to say. I think they're really good, is what I'm trying to say.
It's a real negative way to say they're really good.
I expect it from them.
You're in a bad mood. Is it because Japan lost?
Oh, just a little bit.
Alright.
Well, I'm also just disappointed in Chinese Taipei. Like, if I know they're really good, and so why are they just throwing this game against Thailand?
Okay, if they're throwing it, tell me why. Tell me how. Is it just draft?
They're not taking good. Well, the draft was terrible. They're not taking good team fights with this terrible draft. They need to be making it work, and how they make it work is they get the poke in from Hualin first, and then they go in and try to fight. They're not doing either. Oh, I guess it doesn't help when Hualin takes massive snipes like that. NT, stop it, buddy.
NT definitely in the conversation for the best LC in the world.
He's never
another
missed.
one just right on cue. Fanta down to half, below half, just have to leave. That tower's gone. KSA and Rush surge forward. They're all low. Thanks to NT's good work, they can start just winning the game.
NT, what? This is a madman.
KSA back in shot. Yo, under threat. Angelic Splendor will be spent to keep Taos alive. This gets dangerous, but not for Taos, who gets a kill underneath the tower, while NT stays alive, dealing damage and raining in snipes. There's Hawk for the kill. A deep dive. Tora lives with a roll back. Hawk's Ion Blast do big damage, while KSA shifts to the front lines to tank, and now all three high grounds are gone. Rush wants the core, and Thailand Wildcard want the game. They'll have to stall for a moment, but they're cleaning up the kills. Jorah got one in response, but a snipe from NT nails him from across the map. And Thailand Wildcard can withdraw, knowing they're a man back and knowing they can contest for this Dark Slayer up in just 22 seconds.
Are you kidding me, NT? What in the world? He just turns around. It's like, oh, Hawk, you lost? Oh, hold on. I'll get it. Don't worry about it. Just give me a second here. Licks his lips a couple of times. There you go.
I said
Done.
NC was in the conversation for the best LSU in the world. I may have been a little stingy with that. Until proven otherwise, NC is the best LSU in the world.
What the heck? What in the world? Who are you, NT? Oh.
Even these,
Okay.
might be like he's missing those shots. He has no vision on Fanta. The fact that he's so close to killing Fanta and Chura despite that is insane. Here's another snipe, and NT gets the kill. Kid trying to run away will be saved by the Ethereal Pulse. Rush stays alive as the Angelic Spider comes through from KSA, and Taos finally overextends, going way too far forward.
Even that last snipe that was going towards Kid was online. It was just a little bit far. Thailand is just...
The only thing that stops NT is the physical range of bullets.
They don't go far enough. Why don't my bullets reach? So, the one thing you can say here for Chinese Taipei is that Hualin's build is very damaging now. And if he lands a lot of Ethereal Pulses, he can chunk the side of Thailand down, and maybe they can finish up with something.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that win Vietnam got over Thailand feels much more impressive right now.
Yeah.
And by extension, the win North America got over Vietnam looks much more impressive.
Is their win against Taipei less impressive?
Maybe. Because Taipei are getting taught. Here's the Drake, the superest of Swole minions in mid. Thailand looking for the finish. They've got Fanta low. The Thunderbird will be intercepted, but the snipe is not. Sure, knocked down to half with a single one. That will be the core being worked away on. The Ethereal Pulse will burn down that Drake. Good old spend just to scare back this push. Nicely done by Chinese Taipei. But the super duper minions are coming through. Their HPs are dwindling. Jorah's gone. And so's the game. So's the series. It will be 2-0 to Thailand Wildcard.
Rush, he claps into the air, and I have to agree. I am just... That was... What an amazing performance by them, completely styling over one of the best teams in the world in the Chinese Taipei wildcard team. Whoa, that was beautiful.
Was astonishingly good. Who's your MVP?
NT by a mile.
I
That was
couldn't agree
ridiculous.
more.
How do you hit
So-
every snipe? Like every
So we
single
have our Group B champion, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, no one can catch up. I don't think they are 7-1. Chinese Taipei is now 5-3. And I can't catch up. Vietnam can technically catch up, but it would be very hard.
They need to win almost everything, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And they
your stats.
they play
screen here.
Malaysia. Yeah.
Your stats screen
No,
here.
but
Take a look at NC's numbers. No deaths, 3 assists. But look at that gold. And wait a moment till we get his damage stats.
I'm just like rubbing my hands together. Like, here it comes the
I need
damage.
to see those damage stats.
Hawk had a lot of damage too, actually. So
Yeah,
look at the
Hawk
raw
was doing
damage.
A real good job. Hawk was doing a real good job being a sustained part of this team. Like, and it's hard. What you need with Elsu is you need someone to finish off the people you tag low, and Tulin's perfect for that. Not just because of his mobility, but 33% in 6. That wow.
So look at the raw numbers because Hawk
Like,
did a ridiculous amount of damage as well.
67,000 damage.
Versus so Hawk and NT both doubled. Okay, so Tura and Hualin were the 2 highest damage dealers on Chinese Taipei. If you combine them together, both NT and Hawk separately had more than them.
Yeah. There is no point to follow that up. MVP will be NT.
I mean, okay. That he had 3.4% damage taken. I know that sounds crazy, but it's really hard to do that much damage and take that little damage because at some
he's on
point,
the other side of the map.
yeah,
Somehow
exactly.
need to land
heroes-
auto attacks. I don't think NT landed a single one. He didn't even fire one.
Exactly. Even the most long range of heroes need to at least get kind of close and take some damage.
Ooh,
But
that
he's
play.
just like, no, all snipes. That's all I need.
Enjoy NT's frag montage while we go to break. When we return, it will be Vietnam wildcard playing Malaysia in our hold-up 5th match of the evening. The AWC group stage continues in Day 3, Group A time.
Welcome back, everyone, to the AWC 2019 Group Stage Day 3 Match 5. I'm D2, and that's TJ.
Absolutely incredible first series of the day, and we kept going after that. Every game has been a spicy one so far. In particular, I'd like to highlight that Chinese Taipei versus North America match. Of course, we'll get another taste of them later on in the day when North America come back to play Malaysia. But before then, we have this upcoming match between Vietnam wildcard and, yes, it's Malaysia.
They have opposite records. It's 4-2 for Vietnam, 2-4 for Malaysia. We expect Vietnam to 2-0 this, or at least that's what we thought coming in today. But Japan gave Malaysia some trouble, and they gave Vietnam some trouble, so they both had trouble with Japan. Maybe they're closer than we thought.
Yeah. I'd like to take a moment, because we do have a few minutes, it looks like, to unpack the results of the last game, though. Chinese Taipei, oh, we do not have nearly as much time as I thought. Chinese Taipei got obliterated by Thailand wildcard. We acknowledge that makes Thailand wildcard the clear favourites in the groups, but I think that opens up cracks for Vietnam wildcard as well. If Vietnam wildcard plays well here and now, they manage to walk away with a lot.
Well, we mentioned when Vietnam played Japan that they needed to show us something. They needed to show a dominant performance. They did not. They still won, mind you, but I'm still looking for that dominant performance from Vietnam. And if they don't, then I'm kind of worried about their match at the end of the day between them and Chinese Taipei, even though we did just see Chinese Taipei fall pretty brutally.
Do you see a possible world in which we need to start worrying about that North America-Malaysia match? As North American fans.
Right. What is that coming from Kien? So
you were a few seconds ahead of me.
Oh, sorry. He did the triple three-finger thingy. It feels very much like the Team Flash against Team China yesterday, where there's like respect there. There's a little bit of, we got to take them seriously. But if they take care of business, it shouldn't be a big deal. That said, it should be the same thing for this match as well. If Vietnam takes care of business, they should be able to really just wipe the floor with Malaysia. But we've seen that this Vietnamese team, this box gaming team, doesn't always like to just do things normally.
Yeah, if we end up in a world here where this Malaysia side takes down box gaming, then all of a sudden I'm worried for the North America team. But you also have to give a little bit of leeway to the fact that Vietnam wildcards seem entirely capable of both pulling out miraculous wins and doing rather silly things in games they should have complete control of.
Exactly. And if they mess around a little bit too much, then we could see Malaysia take advantage. And the thing is, when Japan played Vietnam, they were kind of handcuffed with what heroes they could play and what styles they could go with, just because they haven't had the game long enough to be able to be good at everything. But Malaysia's, they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
And
Vietnam
I fully expect...
Vietnam wildcard have shown a propensity towards, shall I say it, bad manners. If they try and get away with that against a team as experienced as Malaysia, I think even though Malaysia are the clear underdogs here, they will be able to bring something to them. Maybe knock them down if they set themselves up.
I feel like you said that the phrase "bad manners" while holding a martini glass and your pinky up. Yeah, bad
display,
manners.
dare I say, bad manners. And I shouldn't like to see any of that nonsense in my AOV games.
7 is sporting a .69 KDA, which
Rough!
I was going to say...
Could be 0.7. One percentage point hot, Daniel.
What?
It could have been 0.7.
Could have been 0.7. You know, I was going to say nice, but it's not so nice when you're under 1.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, you're also right. That's an astonishingly low KDA for 7, given how well he's been playing.
Yeah, I think 7. Try to go for 7, not 0.7 KDA, if you're going to try to match your name.
Yeah. Maybe that's kind of a representation of the over-aggression mistakes we've seen a couple times from Malaysia, the lack of synergy.
A little bit.
But 7 has been consistently quite good. I'd also like to give a shout out to Ria, who looks good every time we see him. It's just never quite enough.
And those are the people who are actually from Malaysia. Kato and Ray are the Taiwanese imports.
Mm-hmm. So, into the draft phase. Yina as first pick. It'll be Richter and Safra removed by Vietnam. Malaysia get rid of Hayate and Elsie. The first pick to Lindis.
Seeming that way, at least. Not quite yet locked in.
So this Yina will give a really good sideline force. That's why she's been consistently the first pick. What's interesting to me is that there's no Darcy pick or ban yet. Normally, we've seen Darcy locked in almost instantly. That's surely what's holding Malaysia up here. If they go with the Lindis in the jungle, they're acknowledging that they're not playing Darcy. We might see our first mid-Darcy in a while if they go for a Darcy here, but instead they'll go for probably a support, and it is the Annette. So they get their ideal support jungle combo right off the bat, and that's not bad at all. Very lightweight to start things off.
Right, and Lindis's kit really jives well with that of Annette's. You could say it combos well, because Annette's passive, if you get stacks of ability usage, then she heals everyone in a big burst. It's nice.
One of the things they do need to watch out for, though, is this is already kind of flagging, and it does whenever you draft in a net, especially with the Lindis, that they're looking for a lightweight, damage-focused composition. Vietnam can go for an answer by going for characters with great pick potential, and Darcy Baldum has great pick potential. The Baldum very good at scooping up those lighter weight characters, the Darcy very good at shutting them down. That's going to force Malaysia to make sure they have a response, be it simply investing in a very high mobility front line and doubling down on the damage, or giving themselves a tank, maybe a Teamy who is still on the cards, to make sure that they stay up. With the Annette already locked in, it would be weird and risky for them to get the Teamy, but I've seen stranger things. It'll be a Varus instead.
Varus is like the softest of counters to Darcy in a way, if you think about it, because one, if Darcy gets a portal off onto Varus or someone else, then she could immediately just stun him, get out. Well, on my screen, switch to Florentino, so forget all that. I was about to say, fun fact, TJ, did you know that Bloody Kiss, it releases you from the dimensional portal, but that's not being picked yet.
You are a solid 8 seconds ahead of me. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw to this screen real fast and refresh my feed so we're a little more in sync. Give me a radio cast.
All right. So, Florentino picked up here, and that leads to the ban of Superman on the side of Malaysia. Back over to Vietnam, discussing their ban. I don't even know if this is a great radio cast because they're taking their sweet high. Nothing's really happening, DJ.
I was just wondering what the traffic on the 101 was, so if we could go to a quick commercial break and find that out.
You know, so the 101, does it go to the Bay Area as well?
Mm-hmm. That's why I picked it.
Wow.
Because everyone knows about the 101.
Wow, it's really long.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. Although, if you do drive from Northern California to Southern California, do not use the 101. It's the most windy road ever. You will take twice as long to get there.
Also, it's a real busy freeway.
Well, not in the middle. Not when you're driving all the way down. Lots of cows, though. If you want to see cows, go on the 101.
You don't want to see cows. Do not drive on the 101 if you're ever doing on a road trip through California. If you are doing a road trip through this draft, we'll wind our way up to the second phase of bans. It's an Omen removed. With Superman already off the cards, the Omen would have been quite good in there. But removed alongside a Varus. That's relevant because it was hovered earlier by Malaysia. They're looking for its possibility as a counter to Yina, as a counter to Baldum.
Tara gets picked up here from Malaysia. And that's interesting because now they have double melee sideline, obviously, which makes sense with Lindis. But I'm curious, neither Florentino nor Tara are natural abyssal laners. Florentino may be a bit more so, but
I'd put Florentino down bottom. Could also jungle the Florentino. Or the Tara. Send the Lindis down to the Dragon line.
You're a madman.
I am, but let me tell you about my jungle Tara win, right?
You know, when I go and play on the Indonesia server, I have a pretty good with jungle Tara as well over in blonde or like goldish. Anyway,
You
finish up the draft.
My rank. I'll have you know I'm high plat this season. Traffic on the 101, been congested up to 580. Tara will be locked in alongside Tulin and Annette from Malaysia. Vietnam wildcard have Raz, Fennec, Baldum as their final three.
Fennec sideline as well.
Yeah, has to be, because they have the Darcy in the jungle.
You could go Darcy. What if they went Darcy bottom and they just said screw it?
Darcy bot lane, Fennec jungle.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it.
Actually, if you think about it, they have the most flexible team ever. They could literally just do musical chairs with their entire team, considering bottom can kind of halfway jungle. It's just like everyone everywhere. Screw the rules, TJ. I don't live in that hierarchy.
The Facebook Live chat has a question. Jeremy Jennings asks, are you enjoying that coffee, D2?
No, because it's a Coke.
Oh.
I switched it.
My God. I didn't realize you could achieve that much sipping with it. Okay. All right. Coming out of the draft, this is a surprisingly solid draft from both sides, I would say, but I do give the edge to Vietnam.
Yeah, which is exciting for me because we finally get to see a Fennec win a game, hopefully. Although now that I said that's probably cursed.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that. I do think the Fennec is the weak spot now, because I've yet to believe in Fennec. I know he's supposed to be good, that's why I'm trusting you and saying that I think Vietnam won the draft, but I'm doing so on good faith, and this needs to be a demonstration that the Fennec works.
You know, I think that Fennec can be good and also be the wrong pick, because I think that people need more practice on him. He is a completely different hero now.
So he is a completely different character. I was seeing some speculation, I forget from whom, earlier in our Facebook chat. They were saying that part of the reason why all these Fennecs have been suffering is because maybe they're just not adjusted to playing him as a new character yet. Do you think there's any merit to that?
I think that's 100% true. I think he plays like a marksman version of Tulin now, and that's not at all how he used to play. That aside, we're getting into series number 5 of the day, game number 1 between Vietnam wild card. That wasn't a southern accent. That was me screwing up the name Vietnam. It's going against Malaysia, and we are off and ready for some bush parties.
That was all right. Malaysia to start things off flying in mid. It will be Akashi on the Raz to challenge against Tulin. We had this discussion the other day. You were saying you thought Raz was quite good into Tulin. I agree with you. He has the poke from Power Surge, but also if you get within melee range, Raz just manhandles the Tulin.
Right, and my big thing is that Raz is multifaceted, whereas Tulin's only really good in the early. Goodness! Kuhn gets taken up by PS Man up top, as the observer wasn't even ready to see that until the very end.
Yeah, you are a few seconds ahead of me, so perhaps I should take the play-by-play calling for now until we get a little bit more synced up. Akashi.
I can pause for a second.
Nah, it's fine. We'll work with it. Akashi will take the mid lane. Let's kind of talk this through though while we have a moment. Do you think the Fennec and the Florentino matchup is positive?
For the moment, for Fennec right now, yeah. The one thing that Fennec has going for him is he has those iframes, those long iframes, as we discussed earlier, with the rolling lightning, and he's 2 of them as long as he's able to get it reset. So that really helps against Seven. Although I don't really like getting into Florentino in general. So not the best.
Opa, right into the middle of this team, but the wind cuffs. Oh my, that's perfect. Opa and Akashi try and flee, but the damage has already been done. Malaysia answer back. It's a 1-1 trade for first blood.
It was a feast for Dio there as he went in, got his entire passive off on the opposing team, and now Aura can't even contest this Abyssal Dragon.
Nicely done by Malaysia. They lose that player up top ages ago. They concentrate their forces towards mid, find an answer, and that should mean, and it does, that they can scoop up that Abyssal by rotating their players down to capitalize.
So as I get this set up, excuse me, one of these feeds is way ahead of the other one. Anyway, all that aside, Malaysia really surprising with their play so far. All that effort just means that it is only an even gold situation at the moment, and they're gonna have to really rotate better if they're gonna beat this Vietnamese squad.
Akashi to mid. Nice power surge. My favorite thing about good Razes is that when they just land 100% of their power surges, because it's so subtle, but if you land 100% of those ranged projectiles, you're doing 20% more damage.
I don't know how that math works out, but
my point is, over the course of the game, landing all those tiny little projectiles makes a big difference. Kind of keep going. That portal did land. Seven's in trouble. The portal forward as well. Seven should just be able to walk away. Rio, in the meantime, trying to back out. Aura doing massive damage onto him.
Yeah, Aura's going to continue to try to push this in, and the chain hammer cyclone trying to push them back while they take the tower, but I don't think there's enough minions to make it work.
The speed at which this bot lane is collapsed in favor of Vietnam wildcard is intimidating, and they're still going. This is a speed run of the bottom lane. Ray will dive in. That tower should fall. It's a good wild prison from Upper. Defensively, Aura's very low. But Clyde landed the portal. 1-1 trade on the kill. Seven very low as well. And Clyde will chase. He's got Seven down to a sliver of HP. But now Cato's here. And it's an overextension from Vietnam wildcard as they lose 2 players on the push.
Wasn't it overextension, or was PS Man just taking the top tower? This has just been absolutely nuts from Vietnam, because it's you'll see it in their screen in a second. Good job, PS Man. Well done.
This is like the most aggressive I've seen any team play. Vietnam wildcard, I use the term speedrun kind of jokingly, but they are trying, it feels, to finish this game as quickly as possible.
This has been their style, though, because remember on day number 1, they were consistently running an all melee style just to push their opponents out of the game. And even when they do go for the Fennec here, they're still going to go for the same type of thing. The funny thing is, it was actually very smart of them, very heads up, to continue to push the bottom lane, because if Malaysia's going to just ignore them and think they're going to go away, then they're just going to stay there and take more towers.
Abyssal Dragon taken. Kine grabs it. Now they'll look for more. Seven in trouble. The portal didn't land, but they can still get the kill. The Hurricane Wall from Ray saves the day. The Wild Prison's short. Ray's gone nonetheless. It's a clean play from Vietnam wildcard. They get a kill and likely this tower.
That is the strength of Darcy, able to outrange the towers so strong when you're able to just poke on a slow health one. Don't even have to take any risk at all. You're obviously unable to punish him for that.
Ray has been playing real well. These Hurricane Walls have been great.
He's doing his best, but it doesn't save himself,
That
unfortunately.
is such a backhanded compliment.
It's a compliment to him. It's a compliment to him. It's an insult to the rest of the team, because I don't know if he's trying to save his team, but it's not enough.
Yes, and I feel against almost any other roster in the world, he would have saved his team many times over. As is, though, we're 6 minutes in. Vietnam Wildcard are pushing up against the high ground in the bot lane, tier 2 in the top lane. Full control of the map.
They still Aura's just pushing bot. He just doesn't care.
Well,
Obviously, it helps that Oppa's
nearby.
Exactly, and that's what allows him to do that. Oppa's just standing there ready to flip anyone over that tries to get in the way. And he does pick up Tide Color's Mark. Very interesting choice there. Just wants overall defense that allows your team to get 10% damage reduction in a area of effect around you. It also gives you more regen, but there's no burst. There's no panic shield there.
Aura maybe too far forward. Ray attacks him, jumping at him with the Hurricane Wall. Actually, I'm not real clear what the plan was there. Now Ray's in trouble. Gosh, he just burns him down. Thunderbird will go back, but it doesn't find any impact.
Uh-oh.
Portal ticked on Kun, I think. He's pulled back in and should be destroyed, but it's Tara you're talking about. He'll be fine a moment longer while PS Man works away at the top tower. He's there to intercept.
Yeah, Vietnam just running circles around Malaysia at the moment. Malaysia really can't stand up to this, because everywhere they go, Vietnam has numbers. This is what it feels like against one of the best teams in the world. Suddenly, it feels like you're playing 5v6.
But why hasn't Vietnam Wildcard taken the Dark Slayer?
Because they don't feel like it.
Because we criticized them for this against Japan, and we were like, oh, they're just trolling. But they, like, could have ended this game already.
I mean, they still don't have the mid-second tier tower, so...
You know who would help them take the mid-second tier tower?
Here's the thing. They have to reset. They have to get everyone over there in order to make that happen.
Uh-oh. PS Man gone.
PS Man.
Now they'll take the Dark Slayer.
If they commit everyone to that side, it just gets dicey, right? Because Dark Slayer does a lot of damage to you.
Vietnam Wildcard had multiple moments where they were up a kill, where they knew there wouldn't be a contest.
Right, but the Dark Slayer is a means to an end, and that end is to take towers. So you might as well just take the towers and cut out the middleman.
I'm a disagree to disagree here. Kun in the bot lane.
So you agree?
Aura.
So you're saying you agree?
No, I am not. Vehemently.
Try put those words together again. See what happens.
Disagree with your disagreement over my disagreement. Oh, 7. He's fine. Cleanses himself
Just
in the
turn.
portal.
7, turn on him.
He will still go down. His kind runs him down over time. Now Vietnam Wildcard get the memo. Dark Slayer it is. 1 kill to their name. That'll be enough. Aura's in the area.
Kian took a lot of damage from that Dark Slayer. By the way, the Dark Slayer did get buffed in the last patch. He does more damage.
Bigly.
Yeah, he does more damage. He has more armor break, and he also has more damage reduction.
There's a clip of me on my stream getting wrecked by the dragon, who's swole as well now. I was just like, oh, I'll take this dragon, and the dragon just 1v1s me. Portal ticked. That should be the kill. Rio's gone. 7 down to half HP as well. Dodges out from the power surge that chases him, but that high ground tower should fall, and there's a wave crashing against the bottom lane as well. Mid will be the first to collide as Oppa goes in. There's the wild prison off ahead. Oppa just working his way in. Ray's Hurricane Wall slowed things down. The Drake's floating, flapping his way into the base the whole while. Mr. Drake won't be long for this world, but neither will the bot lane tower. As the push comes in, that high ground's gone. Kun as well. PS Man all the way in, has 2 to his name. Ray and Kato are trying to play defense, but Kind just keeps going, and Ray's ticked by the portal. No, barely outside of it, but it may not matter, as Kato's chased down, and Vietnam Wildcard have game number 1 of this best-of-2 series.
Vietnam so dominant that even when they play with their food, it just leads to more deaths for the opposing side. Dominant performance, and actually the first time that we've seen that from them. Finally, Vietnam comes in and stomps some fools.
Yeah, like you said, that's the first time we've actually seen Vietnam be able to clean up a game without a doubt. They won pretty dominantly over Japan earlier today, but even in the games that they should have just been clean on, it was a little bit shaky. Here versus Malaysia, they were able to say, no, we're chill. We're in control of this game.
Yeah, there was a little bit of Malaysian pushback in that mid lane for a little bit, but it didn't even lead to a gold lead. So, yeah, Vietnam never in trouble.
So, your MVP for the game?
Kian, I guess?
Yeah, I'd agree. Kian did a lot of damage.
The Yena did pretty well up top too, especially against what's supposed to be the hero that nullifies her.
Still talking about Scud?
No, I'm talking about Yena versus Tara.
Still a little bit salty about that.
Okay.
It'll be
Akashi did well.
On that Yena who you're praising, Kian, in the jungle. Akashi, I thought, did real well too. He'd definitely be my MVP. I know the game gave him the MVP award, but his Raz play was stellar, consistently finding individual picks. Ara wasn't the explosive argument in favor of Fennec that I'd like, but he sure did win lane fast.
Yeah, he was able to just be a presence and continuously take down the towers. So, yeah, but I do agree with you though. The Fennec, if you were to use this game as proof that Fennec is, in the meta, you'd be falling on deaf ears. So,
yeah, I still don't believe. I've not been convinced. Intellectually, I know it's supposed to be meta. Logically, I struggle with it. Opposing them, Rio had a decent performance. He seems to keep doing that, though, and they aren't winning enough games, so I'm not sure how to take that.
just be disappointed. That's
Rio,
how I do
I'm
it.
disappointed in you.
What about the team?
I can't be
Oh, they gave it to
in the team. Just Rio.
They gave it to Akashi.
I agree.
He was flaming. He
He's
was on fire.
5-1-1 in his KDA. The interesting thing to me there is his kill participation. The fact that it's at 54% is exemplary. Well, he has 5 kills in that quick a game is exemplary of how many kills Vietnam Wildcard caught.
Yeah, it's, well, only 11? No. 9. It's 9 and then the game's over.
Game number 1 in the bag. How does Malaysia turn around for game number 2?
They need to just have better rotations and better macro. The fact that they were able to get a very nice kill in the mid and the Abyssal Dragon and turn that into 0 gold lead is something they can't let happen.
Alright, well, we'll see if they can change things up as needed. Game number 2 is still to come. Vietnam Wildcard have a dominant Game 1 performance, but they need one more to set out their mandate to contest the top of the group. Don't go far. The Arena of Valor World Cup continues after this. You hear the jingle, you know what that means. It's back to the AWC 2019. My name's still TJ, still with D2, and still with a game between Malaysia and Vietnam wild card. It's impossible to be sad when that music's playing, I'm not gonna lie.
And yet, you're able to do it, TJ.
You don't know me?
I saw that single tear coming out on your face.
You actually do know me far too well. That'll be Richter and Sephora in the first ban phase for Malaysia. As Vietnam wildcard answer back with Hayate Elsu. Are we settling into a standard there? Why isn't Darcy being banned?
He's more situational.
But he's won almost every game so far. Give me a win rate for Darcy. I guarantee you it's well above 70%.
I feel like the better team is always picking Darcy.
Maybe there's a better team because they get Darcy.
This is very chicken or the egg. But you do have a point that if Malaysia thinks they are the underdog, then they should definitely ban out the Darcy.
Not a believer in not banning the Darcy. Particularly, I suppose Vietnam. So I don't know what you let through at some point. I guess the Sephora is my answer. Sephora, actually, you know what? Not very impressed by the Richter either. I think you could let both of those through rather than the Darcy.
Why do you hate Richter?
I don't hate Richter. I just don't think he's as good as everyone thinks he is. I think Richter...
By everyone, do you mean me?
I mean, the pros are banning him first picks, so clearly not just you.
Looks like we got our answer about why they didn't ban Darcy.
Because they were going to pick him. Cycle 2. Baldum Lindis was the first cycle for Vietnam as they locked it in. How do you feel about Baldum Lindis these days?
It's not really a combo, it's just two good heroes.
Yeah, but it is two good heroes who keep getting picked. Are they a decisive factor?
What does that mean? That's so vague.
I'm practicing jumpisms.
Oh my God. I was thinking about it for a moment. I'm like, what? Can they be? I'm trying to like give an analogy for something even more vague.
Draft. Are these a decisive factor? Annette Darcy will be pulled in by Malaysia. I think that Baldum and Lindis are what I like to call a decisive factor in these games, because Baldum is one of the best aggressive supports, and when you can combo that with sustained backline with Lindis, it actually works really well. And I'd go so far as to say the reason that they in particular are a soft combo is because of Lindis' high move speed. Because Lindis can always get to whatever fight Baldum creates.
Right, and if there's a pick, you can jump on it.
You can't act like I'm crazy and then support me when I make a good point. You're having it both ways here, bud.
That's how I like it.
All right.
Just how I roll, TJ. Okay. Okay.
Superman Florentino next in the ban phase. Those two make a lot of sense. I'll go that far. Why is this Omen come through?
To potentially deal with Hina. So, anytime you have some crazy overpowered hero in the DS lane, the standard / fallback way to deal with it for over a year now has just been to pick Omen and see what you can do.
Because Omen, of course, has really good wave clear time, but also the ability versus anyone to hit him with that Death's Embrace and leave like the party is over. And the cops have been called.
I mean, usually if you're investing into an Omen whose main attraction is being able to duel, then you get them with Death's Embrace and you actually kill them. If you're just doing that to run away, then you're not doing a whole lot because you're not helping the team fight either.
It's a good set because it's very effective underneath tower, because just being an Omen under tower means that people are going to hesitate to dive you. So, even if the Yina's dominantly winning lane, which Yina has done, the fact that they're into an Omen means that they're going to find it a little bit harder to dive the tower.
What is happening right now?
Amelie Varus for Malaysia. I heard you liked dual characters, so I got you characters that can duel in every lane.
Emily has a passive called Duel, which means she does a little bit more damage to one hero. And then Florentino came out and they're like, Gentleman's Duel. And his is a little bit better.
So, every single one of these characters is good in a 1v1. The obvious downside to that is they're not real great in a 5v5. Vietnam, by contrast, have a real good team combo comp. They can start things off with a stun from Liliana or Omen, follow them up with Death's Embrace, Yabanis. Nobody is getting away if they get scooped by Baldum, if they get stunned by Liliana. They are going to receive the Vietnamese Buffalo directly to their forehead.
Wait, Kian's playing Yebaneth? They're putting Ara, who's a marksman, on Lindis.
Jungle Yabanis?
No, it's not Jungle Yebaneth. But he's just playing a different role now.
They're bored.
I mean, they should not be bored because they need to win this, because if they do, then they can get second place in the group.
Might be as simple as Ara plays the character of Lindis a little bit better. He saw you. He's watching me. He gave me a thumbs up. I'm a big Vietnam fan now.
They're just playing to your heart. They're gonna dump you later.
Oh. Thanks, Dad. This is gonna be a really good composition for 5v5 team fights into a composition that does not want a 5v5 team fight. That typically goes the way of the more aggressive one of those two. If you're aggressively splitting, then you can force those split fights. If you're aggressively grouping and roaming, then you can force those team fights. If past results are anything to go by, Vietnam Wildcard is the far more aggressive of these two teams. We will find out whichever way it works, though, as we get into game between Malaysia and Vietnam Wildcard.
So, in many a game, I have been very critical of the Yebaneth pick and said it's terrible. In this case, it's ridiculous in a good way. Kian, Yebaneth is just going to absolutely dominate this game because there's nothing that Malaysia can do if he just pops Nature's Realm. 3 melee heroes, but the main engaged heroes are the ones who are not going to be able to do anything. No one's going to be able to burn them down. It's just going to be torture for the side of Malaysia having to deal with this Yebaneth.
Rio will be here to scare back Akashi as well. So this early game is going to be a little bit good for Malaysia because they'll have a lot of individual characters pushing across the map. And then we're going to hit about 3 minutes. And Vietnam are going to group up and just start winning fights. Also, maybe Kian just does it by himself because he's a big boy.
He's 1v3. What do you...
Why is Kun coming close to him? Flicker, the clap! Oh my god, he's just short, but he dodges everything. Kun, you almost got the tree.
Oh, I can't believe Kian tried to jump in there. This is the BM coming out from level 1.
I wouldn't even say
on
that's
Vietnamese
BM.
side.
That's just confidence.
He could have gotten away.
Yeah, but he also might have gotten the kill.
You can't...
You miss
you can't
every
get...
clap you don't take.
That was beautiful.
How I play Yabanis. Abyssal Dragon will be scooped up as results. That bot lane pick, so Malaysia capitalized well. I'm hesitant to call this early though because, oh, what is this? Rio right into the middle of 2. Does have good life steal from the Bloody Kiss. PS Man quite far forward. RA eats a portal in the meantime. And 7's there for the cleanup. Vietnam to lose another team fight as the win cups are perfect Malaysia suddenly with 4, and if Vietnam aren't taking it seriously yet, they are now.
I don't think they still are taking it seriously. Sorry to throw you off. Okay, so remember yesterday when we had Mad Team, Chinese Taipei main, and they were taking everything extremely seriously and taking everything slow, not making sure not to make any errors and not taking any chances. This is the exact opposite of that. Vietnam, this team comp should win easily, in my opinion, and yet they're playing exactly into the Malaysian composition and trying to take these early engages when they just don't. They have the late game by far, and yet they're saying, "Hey, Malaysia, let's fight now."
Death beckon. PS Man beckons you towards him. Kind of spend the Nature's Realm. Doesn't land a lot of his seeds though, so this is going to be Kun's kill if he's not careful. He'll have to burn the flicker to get away.
Yeah, just in a roundabout way, eventually get those seeds down.
Did PS Man just go in for the Death beckon on the net and then flicker away? He's dead! What?
I feel like Kun's
poor
gonna
Kun.
die, isn't he? Kun's dead. Yeah. I feel like Vietnam should practice disengaging rather than continuing to re-engage.
Why do you go in for a Death's Embrace on the net?
Because that was what was in front of him. Akashi? Oh my god.
But no, I'm hung up on this. What is the Annette gonna do if she can get closer? There's no reason. The Annette was already in range to hit the people under the tower. There was no reason to go for the Death's Embrace. It cost him his life. Vietnam don't seem to have cared that they lost all those players, though. Because the gold lead's still somehow even. And they're still just running all over the jungle.
The funny thing is, instead of listening to me, they decide to just double down, and it's actually working. It's like, if we just take enough fights, we'll eventually win one, and then we'll just win the game. I suppose that's their strategy.
That's how I play Battleship. I don't win very many quick games of Battleship, but I win a lot of long games of Battleship.
Because you take a lot of shots.
Akashi, in mid, is kind of looking for this duo to work. Blinding Light into Wild Charge. That's what I was talking up earlier. There's a real good team fighting comp from Vietnam, which is why they've been looking for fights. Of course, during the early game, it's not true. Malaysia abandoned that Abyssal Dragon to rotate off the back of seeing all that pressure up top. I don't really agree with that, especially because Akashi just baits him out. Maybe they'll get a tower from it, then it would be worth it, but they may be overestimating how quickly they can do this. They'll get the tower. Ray eats a few shots. Here comes the rest of Vietnam. The wildcard team wants to get real close real fast. Scoops there. Ray in trouble. Akashi lands the blinding light. Vietnam wildcard just back up. Take the jungle.
In the end, I think it was a good rotation by Malaysia because you can't always get towers.
Flicker! Hurricane wall! What was the point of that? Why?
He's going for it. He's shooting his shot. Shoot it, Ray.
B4! You've sunk my battleship.
No, miss. That's what you meant to say there.
Fair enough. What is this?
Oh,
that's going to be the portal not ticked. Ooh, but Ray and Troll in the meantime will go down. Nicely done.
I don't even know what this game is, TJ. I have no analysis. Just unfettered aggression. For sometimes reasons, but sometimes not as well.
I'd like to put Vietnam wildcard in detention.
The funny thing is, they're still behind in gold.
Yeah, they shouldn't, like, they need to stop bullying Malaysia and go think about what they've done, because they literally have no excuse to be doing this.
Look, what is happening? They're inside Malaysia's base. With even numbers and down in gold.
I don't know what's weirder, they're down 3 kills. Malaysia has literally double the amount of kills. They'll shortly have 2 dragons to none. 7 in the meantime is just getting 1v3'd inside his own jungle because Vietnam wildcard thought it would be cool. They'll take a tower as well.
It's actually pretty much worth it. Why take dragons? Why kill dragons when you can kill heroes, TJ?
You're onto something. Mid lane.
I don't understand. I don't understand at all.
Mid lane. Aura just
Oh
walks
my
up to
God.
the tower, says goodbye to it. Signs of the
Akashi had a
doctor's note,
beautiful
so
shining
have a
light
few days
light
off.
though. Hmm?
This looks to be okay. Do you think they go for Darkslayer within the next 4 minutes?
Ooh, that's actually a good over under. That's a really good over under.
I'll give you under. I don't think they'll touch the Darkslayer. Despite having enough map control to get it now, I don't think they'll go for it. Ray in trouble. Hurricane Wall away. That will be the tick on that portal up. Is pulled in, but ignores it nonetheless. Kian just sets up with a Nature's Realm. No real capitalization on it, but it sure does keep Malaysia back behind their tower. And that means Vietnam can continue to sweep up the jungle.
This is what I was talking about earlier, though. If ever Kian just walks up in Nature's Realms, there's nothing that Malaysia can do about it. They cannot kill him. It's not physically possible. So now that we've but in the weirdest way possible, gotten to the mid game, this is definitely Vietnam's game. There's just nothing they can do against Yebuneth. And that by proxy, that means that there's nothing they can do about the backline.
Opa in with the wild charge. Ray in trouble, and Akashi's got the stun. Kun wants an answer with a dive onto Akashi. Hurricane Wall combo, and Malaysia have a key kill. But Kian doesn't get the memo. He goes in 1v2, and it does not work out. Of course it doesn't. Malaysia sweep up the kills, and now finally Vietnam have been punished for their avarice.
Vietnam, are you done proving me wrong yet? Are you done trying to make me look as stupid as possible by getting wrecked in that team fight? Oh my goodness. Kato, have to give him credit. He is the only damage on this team from the backline, and he is doing wonders. He actually killed both backlines there. He killed Akashi, then he caught Aura with the portal and killed him as well. Kato says, I can beat all the backline damage we need.
What? Kian scares them off the Darkslayer all by himself, just by treeing at them. Fear the ecology.
Well, they
Rio
can't kill
wants the
Kian.
flank. Serpent's
And
Embrace will
the
put him in
Darkslayer was killing them too.
good
so.
distance. Ray and Rio can't get this kill though, and they just need to accept that as the truth and leave.
Vietnam starting the Darkslayer. Vietnam starting the Darkslayer.
Inside my time estimate by 2 minutes.
Okay, right, but the reason why they're starting it is because Malaysia was starting it. They're like, no, not your Darkslayer, my Darkslayer.
Rio almost steals it. He gets the kill anyway. Akashi and Opa, both gone. It was a mistake. Why take the Darkslayer? Vietnam lose everything. 3 players down.
What is going on with this game? They would have never taken the Darkslayer if Malaysia hadn't started it first.
That was
and then they start
literally
taking
the worst time to take the Darkslayer. They knew Malaysia members were in the area. They knew Malaysia had vision of the Darkslayer. They knew Malaysia wanted to stop them from taking the Darkslayer. And they just, walk up to it and hope it works out.
Okay. That was 1,000 IQ bait from Malaysia. They never wanted the Darkslayer in the first place. They were just baiting Vietnam by basically treating Vietnam like a 3-year-old child and saying, we're going to start taking this. Vietnam's like, no, bye. And then they run away, and then they get the next team fight.
That's Embrace. Kato in trouble. Hurricane Wall. Ray saves the day. The Madman. The Annette. Kato on the run. Will get away from the murderous Annette. Akashi, in the meantime, did not get anything. He's in big trouble. Tries for the turn. It won't work out. Malaysia on an absolute rampage. The only player left on the map is Kian.
Wait, how did Kato survive? Last I looked, he had 1 HP getting chased by Kian under the Vietnam tower.
He flickered over the wall. I watched it happen on the minimap. Portal through. This could be game. Vietnam, how's your avarice cost you everything? Respawns are coming through. Malaysia for the core. They have the wave. They have 7 on the focus. That will be it. Malaysia are back. You don't mess with us.
What? What did I just witness? Malaysia come to Vietnam and kill the Vietnam wildcard team on their own soil, stealing victory from them and definitely punishing their hubris. Oh my goodness. I have never seen just arrogance punished so hard in my entire life, TJ.
Sit down, good sir. You're not that good.
That was just arrogance from start to finish. They kept taking fights they had no business taking, and eventually Malaysia said, that's enough. And in particular, Kato says, you know what? You think you can take these team fights willy-nilly. Let me just show you what I am made of. And Darcy wins again, by the way, TJ.
I stand by my belief we should be seeing more Darcy bans.
You saw it right there. The only backline from Malaysia. We've been saying that the better team has been picking Darcy the entire time. That's why he has an amazing win rate. But
saying that, I think that Darcy's real good.
Well, proven right here.
Vietnam deserves that. Like, more than anything else, I'd just like to state how much I'm happy that Vietnam finally got reminded that they're playing in the World Cup. This squad, look, they're grinning. They know they deserve that. Vietnam wild card needed a talking to, and Malaysia sat them down on the bench.
If I were to describe that last game in a word, it would be comeuppance. Because... oh my goodness.
They'll probably still get out of the groups pretty solidly, but Vietnam wildcard have been reminded exactly who they're playing against. Even if Malaysia are considered one of the weaker teams here on the field, you can't quite ignore them. And you definitely can't mess around with them like Vietnam wildcard just tried to. That does make our second to last game of the day, 2 games from now, or sorry, 1 game from now, a little bit more interesting, because that will be North America against Malaysia. As Malaysia have demonstrated here, they're entirely capable of punishing someone's silly mistakes.
Yeah, I would imagine North America takes note of this and takes it seriously, but you never know. At the very least, Malaysia showed their mettle.
Vietnam wild card. I think they deserved that, is the quickest summation of that. 5-1-6, the KDA for Kun, who did do an incredible job on the Gina.
He went with a crazy build too. He actually had Fenrir's at the end, so he was full on the damage. And anyone who tried to deal with him, he was just going to get in their face and combo him to death.
You know what? Real happy for Malaysia. Good on him.
Good on you, Malaysia.
We'll go to a quick break. We'll be back with the remainder of the group stage for the day. We have Thailand wildcard versus Japan, followed by North America versus Malaysia. And we'll round things out with Chinese Taipei wildcard versus Vietnam wildcard. Have they learned their lesson? We'll find out. During this break, viewers of the Facebook live stream will have to refresh their feed. You don't need to worry about it if you're watching in-game. We are resetting the Facebook stream during this break. You'll just need to go back to the videos page and click on it again. Don't go far. The Arena of Valor group stage continues after this.